I hope everybody's doing well. So we are going to do something a little different. We are fixing to go into Mercury retrograde in Leo coming up here. It doesn't happen until July the 18th, but I want to go ahead and get a reading out for you guys because we are actually in the pre-shadow of that, which happens, I think, here in the next couple of days is when I'm doing this reading. June the 29th is when we're going to start to see the pre-shadow effect of that. So I'm going to go over a couple of things before we get into the pick a card reading. And if you want to go ahead and skip on to that, you're more than welcome. We're going to just take a look and see what this retrograde is going to bring your way. So timestamps for that would be down below. But if you are interested in the dates and kind of what the energy is going to be like going into that, then I have some notes and we're going to go over that real quick. Okay. So first off, the retrograde, it goes into retrograde July the 18th. But as far as the pre-shadow goes, as June the 29th, which is a few weeks prior to it actually going into retrograde, we'll start to see some things take place. One of the reasons that I wanted to look into this retrograde in particular is because when Mercury goes into retrograde, I feel like I'm saying retrograde too much, but when Mercury goes into that, it can be very chaotic. It's when we start to see like miscommunication. Sometimes our electronics start to go haywire. It's just things come up that maybe we haven't dealt with. If you have anything that you haven't been paying attention to that's needing your attention, that's when those things start to kind of come out. And they can come out in a chaotic way, in a tower moment even. So that's why I feel like this is so important to do this reading at this time. So when we're looking into the pre-shadow phase, what we're actually looking into is when you start to see like maybe some misunderstandings start to creep in. Some delays may start to happen as far as your travel plans or plans go. Some people start to appear from our past. That can happen. It's basically for you to start to get into the phase of reviewing and preparing and reflecting, okay? So that's going to happen a few weeks before the July the 18th. And then we'll go into the retrograde phase itself, which is when the storm takes over. That is when you start to see the communication breakdowns where maybe, any kind of communication, there may be some kind of miscommunication or breakdown in communication that needs to be addressed. You start to possibly have some kind of technical issues as well. You could be, make sure that whatever you send out, whatever you receive, you double check everything. Stuff starts to go kind of haywire at that time. We've even seen that on a global aspect as well. So in past Mercury retrogrades, which I always think is so interesting, especially for those individuals that don't necessarily believe in those type of things, and you see something globally take off during Mercury retrograde, and you're like, and then you have the travel disruptions, of course. So perhaps maybe I wouldn't go as far as to say as, don't not to travel at that time. It is, it is here in Texas, summer for us, and a lot of people take off and travel at this time. So just make sure that you're doing, your diligence as much as possible as far as putting your schedule out there and making sure that you have everything in order as to if some things do pop up that you're prepared for that. Also, people of the past. Now, when we do these readings, typically we see a lot of individuals or situations pop back up from the past. Know that if that's something that does come back up, remember something for you to reflect on. There may be something there that you haven't yet fully healed from. It maybe even give you some kind of a sense of closure that maybe you didn't even think that you needed. There's always a reason, something comes back up. So see it as that. See it as okay, this is an opportunity for me to look at this in a different way, maybe a different perspective, a different angle. You always go through your journey and you grow as you go through your journey. So, of course, when you turn around and you look back, or you have someone or something pop back up, you can look at it in a different way, and that in itself could be healing. So, take that into consideration. And then also timing. Poor timing. It's not necessarily the best time to launch anything new. If that's something that you're already in, kind of like the travel, go ahead and go for it. Do what your intuition's telling you, what your heart desires. Just make sure that you do have, like I said, with the travel, everything kind of set into a position to where if anything happens, then you have plan B. Okay. Okay, so this is going to take place July the 18th through August the 11th. And I think I'm going to try to summarize this and put it in the description box as well, because I know this is a lot to take in. And then afterwards, when we hit August the 12th through the 25th, we'll be looking at the post-shadow phase, which is the recovery from the storm. This is where the confusions start to clear up, the lessons from the retrograde become more obvious, and it's kind of a time for you to integrate those lessons, to repair those situations, and to move forward. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you are getting everything that you can possibly get from this Mercury retrograde that's coming in for those of you that need it. And we're not all going to see things that transpire like this. Some of us will, some of us won't. Some of us will see a lot, some of us won't. It depends on your journey itself. So I just want to make sure that you are getting everything you can out of it, because that's what it is for. When everything starts to come up, it's for healing, for you to pay attention to it, for you to reflect on it. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. That's what we're going to do a reading on today. And just to go over those dates real quick again, which I'm going to put them in the description box, but we are looking at pre-shadow, June the 29th. This is going to continue on to the 17th, and then we'll go into retrograde, which is the storm, from July the 18th into August the 11th. And then we'll go into the pre-shadow from August the 12th to August the 25th. And then also I wanted to mention, we are going into retrograde into Leo, Mercury retrograde into Leo, which is also, I feel like a lot of y'all may start to see stuff pertaining to your creativity or your drive or your passion start to surface, like what that is for you. And hopefully whatever does come up, it's something that you can kind of reconcile with or make sense of, so that it can push you into a shift after the retrograde is over, so that you can be more forceful when it comes to the things that drive you with that fiery Leo energy. Hopefully bring more confidence to the direction that you want to take moving forward. So, okay, with all that being said, hopefully that helps. So we're going to take a look and see what this retrograde is going to bring your way, or who it's going to bring your way. I'll try to get everything I can from the tarot. And we are going to use the Awakening Oracles to start. We're going to shuffle these real quick, and then I'm going to pick 4 cards. So we'll do 4 piles today. Okay. And then I have a new deck that I'm going to use for every pile, and it is amazing. You are going to love it. I'm so excited about it. It's so awesome. Okay. So pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. Okay, here we go. So pile 1, y'all have dreaming, curious messages, and endless possibilities. Okay. Pile 2, y'all have ceremony, ritual, celebrate, and devotion. Okay. Pile 3, y'all have the portal, access to the infinite. And pile 4, surrender, trust your higher self. Oh, I love that one. Okay, guys, so if you need it, there's always a meditation after the intro. You can pause it right there. You can, do however you do your meditation and your spiritual practice. Make sure that you're always asking for whatever you need to hear for your highest good. Make sure you set that intention. It's really important that you are bringing those messages, whatever's you're meant to hear for your highest good. I don't know everybody in their situation, so it's always really important to set those intentions because we are looking into tarot and spiritual messages. Always ask for protection around you in this reading and what is meant for your highest good. Okay. If you ever get into a reading and it starts to not make you feel so great, or you start to get anxious or worried or afraid, I would say that is not necessarily the reading for you, or maybe that's a reading you need to come back to later on. Being that this is a reading about retrograde, maybe come back whenever we're getting closer to when retrograde actually starts, which is, July the 18th. And only take the messages that resonate. Really, guys, please remember that you're always in control of the reading. You're the one that's in control of that. You have, you're able to push whatever you need to push to get off of this reading. If this isn't resonating with you, if you don't feel like it's going to put you in a good mood or good place, you are in control. So just click off of it. And yeah, I think that's all I got. So timestamps and hopefully a summarize of all of this will be down below. And thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you at your pile. Okay, pile 1. So if you chose dreaming, curious messages and endless possibilities. Now we're talking about what or who is coming towards you this retrograde. So we are going to look into not only what or who's coming towards you, but we're also going to look into advice as to how to best take what you need from this situation so that you can really use that Leo energy to push you into the next timeline or push you into the next shift. That way you can get the best out of the retrograde that we're about to go into. So take that into consideration. If you start to get into a pile and it is retrograde, so it may not necessarily be exactly what you want to hear. Just make sure that you can skip forward if you want. Just make sure that you're getting that little bit of advice there that comes through, because I feel like that, that's the whole point of the reading. Okay. With that being said, so dreaming, and you have these two crows here, I feel like have to do with perspective, seeing the higher picture or seeing something in a different angle or a different way. And there's 2 of them here. So I feel like there may be something that blooms from being able to see a different perspective or someone else's perspective when it comes to dreaming, when it comes to, the possibilities of what could transpire, what could happen. There also is this curious messages. So this could be like a message here that perks up this curiosity, that kind of takes this whole thing off, There's also something here about this pink flower. Pink is the color that is very nurturing, and it's a very feminine energy. And so like a very motherly energy. So this may have something to do with nurturing a situation or nurturing yourself, or maybe even just nurturing a dream that you have. Okay, so let's put that to the side, and we're going to pull just a few oracles because I want to take a look and see what this retrograde is actually bringing to you. Okay. And we're using the answer oracles. So what is this retrograde bringing towards my pile ones? What or who? You know, I actually might look into both. We'll see what comes out first. What or who is this retrograde bringing towards pile one? Gossip. Okay. So you may hear something. I'm just going to go ahead and start channeling, guys, because it's already coming through. You may actually be hearing something from someone during this retrograde that gives you a different perspective from what you've seen before. So there's some sort of gossip, rumor, speculation, slander. There's something here. This could come over a cup of coffee with someone, like having a cup of coffee with someone, and they say something to you or about someone that you're like, wait, what? Like it's something that you didn't know that you're finding out that's definitely going to give you a different perspective. You have chaos here. It could actually bring some kind of instability for a time being. This new information that comes through. It could be that, you know, the instability comes from the fact of you don't know what to believe because it is coming from a place of gossip. It's coming from a place of a third party, not directly from someone. So you're like, is that true? Like, I'm not sure if that's true. It could be that this causes some sort of tower moment, or the tower could be like you becoming aware. It gives you a sense of unrest, okay? So be prepared for this, whatever this information is. It will make you kind of feel unsettled for a while because you don't know perhaps what to believe. You have run here. This is something that you may be wondering if this is something you should be running away from. I also feel like that you could be running towards maybe seeking the truth or seeking information or seeking the evidence even to try to clear this up. Treatment, yeah, like seeking the comfort or healing. Okay, so this makes sense. Perfect sense to me. Oh, one more just flipped over. It's the koi. Is that how you say it? Koi? Hopefully. Pisces energy may be important here, but Pisces is also about the unknown. So I do feel like, again, this is something that you're unaware of, you don't know. You're going to get some kind of gossip here, perhaps from someone. We'll get to the tarot to see kind of who this is that's bringing this information. But I do feel like it's an outside party. This could even be something about you, you know, someone sharing information about you that someone else said. I mean, it's just gossip, right? They said this and that and blah, blah, blah. Either way, it's coming from an outside source, and it's causing this disruption or chaos. For some of you, this may be involved with work or family. This could be a relationship that you had in the past where something's being said about you or about that person that you were unaware of or didn't know. But it is causing you to have this mental chaos here. Causes you enough mental chaos in a way to where you start to go to kind of escape or see or find out what the truth is. You want to repair something here. There's something you didn't know, and once you figure it out, it causes you to want to repair it, or it causes you want to try to heal it. It's healing for you. You know, that's again what retrograde is, bringing things up to be healed. It may be hard to understand or to see this information, but I feel like it does help you to heal faster through something that you may have never fully healed from. You know, that's again why this could be coming up. Now, with this koi that's here, it's this sorry, I know I like a long pause all of a sudden. This yin and yang energy is sticking out to me because I talked about this being this feminine nurturing, motherly-like energy that's here. And again, it's like seeing both perspectives of something, you know? So this is like somebody expressing something to you. This could be even about gossip, and they're coming to clear this up. But it's something that's really, it's been, and y'all may have already felt this energy here in this pre-shadow of this, and this is what's surfacing. This is the chaos part of it, which is like bringing in that mental chaos and instability. To get more into detail, I feel like for some of you, this may have something to do with someone escaping someone escaping something, or someone that is a reason why someone ran, or a reason why someone is chasing after a situation. Okay, let's get the tarot and stop. I don't want to sit here and just guess, you know. Let's just get the tarot. We have disappointment at the bottom, so either this is going to bring in some sort of disappointment for you, or someone is disappointed. You have secrets underneath that, so there's definitely a secret here. And speeding is here again with promise and ring. Yeah. Okay. I feel like that there's someone here that had some sort of, this has to do with someone having an oath or a contract, a commitment of some sort, like they've promised something here, and something happened quickly. It has to do with a secret that's around this. Look, it's that hamster, which is the same here, and this says secrets, and it has to do with chasing, escaping, or seeking. There's something to do with someone here. I want you for is on the I want you for summer. You're figuring out why someone either ran, or why someone did something that they did. And it's disappointing here. Someone is being honest, either honest with you, or you're hearing this from an outside source, why someone did something that they did to you. And it has to do with, I feel like it has to do with their own desires. I honestly feel like this may be somebody that's actually, for some of you, okay, it's just two different storylines here, okay? Some of you, this is coming from a third-party energy to you. And then the others of you, this is someone that is actually coming to you wanting to have a conversation about this, because they know that you're disappointed here. They want to kind of clear the air. They want to heal the situation. They're giving you a different perspective. That's what's mostly important in this reading, is that whatever this is pertaining to, it's going to give you a different perspective. Okay, so excited to use these cards. Just couldn't wait. Can't wait to get to them. This is the Tarot of Mystical Peaks, okay? And they have, y'all know when I'm doing these readings, I love the cards that have the actual character on them, like the regular Rider-Waite Tarot, because it helps me to tell the story. You can look at the cards and see how the individuals are facing each other, or facing away, or what's going on there. And these have actual people in them. The cards are so pretty too. One more shuffle. Okay, here we go. So we first want to know about gossip. What is this that's coming towards? Now, for you guys, this is a what and a who, okay? So what is it that's coming towards pile 1 in this retrograde with gossip? What is this about? It's coming towards pile 1 in this retrograde. Okay, so Judgment and the Star, both in reverse. This has something to do with someone's desire and making a decision. Like, this could be like someone did something for the wrong reasons. And these synchronicities are crazy. Look at that. And look at that. Look at that. And look at that. It's the Red Cross symbol is there. Um, Crazy, huh? So we have Aquarius and Scorpio energy here. You see how she's letting the bird out of the cage, and she's healed the bird. She's gotten to the point to where she feels like confident that, the bird's ready to be free. But in reverse, there's something to do here about, like I said before with that star, someone's desire or someone's wish where there's a reason why someone made a choice that they did. There's something to do with what they really desire, what they really want to. That's here. We're just going to, actually it was like this, so we'll do that. So what you hear, there's something to do with someone else's judgment too. Like having to do something. Someone had to do something against, some of you, this has to do with someone that had to do something against their will in some way, or they had to, like in order to please others or please a situation. It's like doing something that you don't want to do. See, it's the bird and all that. It's like somebody's going, like, I feel like this is going to be very powerful for you all. I feel like this is going to heal a lot, like, of understanding here. It's all going to come together and make sense. Have you ever had, like, a conversation, or you had, like, a disagreement or something with someone and you don't talk for a long time? Like, years even. And then you hear something about them, and it fits the same timeline as when that disagreement took place. And it's like, you didn't know that they were going through all that, or you didn't know that, at that time that they just didn't want to tell you about X, Y, and Z. And it's like, it all makes sense now. If I would have known that then, I would have understood why. But someone didn't want to express this, like they were struggling or having a hard time telling or expressing the truth. Okay. Why is chaos here? Why is chaos here? For what or who is coming towards pile 1? You have an Ace of Wands in the reverse. Okay. This might cause a delay or cause a disruption. It's like causing a disruption in your life in some kind of way, or it causes a delay when it comes to something that you had like an opportunity that you wanted. Let's see if we can clarify that real quick. The 8 of Wands. Yeah, something comes to a stop here. For some of you, if this has to do with work, maybe it doesn't have to do with work, but for some of you, there's something here that you hear, like someone approaches you and said they've heard something about you. It could be something that someone lied about in the past, or you lied about in the past, that's like coming up for judgment in some way. That's not everybody's story, but that's something that's there. So I have to mention it. So there is something here, or this could even just be in your life in general, where you're just kind of moving along, or something's moving along, or it's, really taking off. And it comes to a halt when this transpires. Everything kind of comes to a halt. If this is some sort of opportunity that you saw here in something, because of this gossip or whatever this is, it came to a halt. Something came to a halt. So this could be like, I'm just going to put this into like a small perspective. So like you have let's just say you met somebody and you got along really good, and you were hoping to partner up with that person, or to date that person, or you exchange information even, or if this is at work, you felt like everything was going really good and everything was starting to move forward, but then all of a sudden it just came to a halt and you don't know what happened there. This could have been a long time in your past. This is somebody that would be explaining to you why things came to a halt, and it was because there was something that was said that they heard or that was going on that they felt like it was going to cause too much chaos, or it was too confusing, or they didn't know if they could trust it. And so they never took that opportunity to continue to move something forward, okay? For some of you, I am getting this message that something happened. It was kind of against their own will. So someone was holding something over them. That's not everybody's message, but that's somebody's message. Why is run here? Has to do with why someone, I feel like, ran away from something. That's really what we're looking at. So the Eight of Pentacles, so for some of you, this has to do with something with work. The Eight of Pentacles in the reverse is, again, something coming to a stop. This is like somebody saying, well, I needed to take a break, or maybe you need to take a break. Maybe you need to this is why I took a step back. This is why I stopped investing. This is why I stopped working on this. This is why I never took that opportunity. Eight of Pentacles. Look at there. The Knight of Wands in reverse. So this could be like someone else's behavior. This is the reason why. It's because someone was unpredictable, or they heard that you were unpredictable, or, this is like someone that could be a player, back and forth, or there's something impulsive about this person. And to me, this is representing you. With run here, though, this is like someone that doesn't put in effort here in some kind of way. I just smelt dirt, like not any kind of dirt, like potting soil. Why? This is kind of like somebody that didn't feel like that this was worth the investment in some way because of someone else's behavior or what they heard about them. What's treatment? What's treatment? So how do you heal this? What happens here with treatment? Oh, look, it's a blank card. There's 2 blank cards in this deck. I thought I took them out, but I guess I didn't. For some of you, this may mean like a clean slate, or it's kind of up to you as far as what the treatment is here of this. So what is treatment? Yeah, the Fool. That's like start a clean slate. That's exactly what I just said. That's so crazy. This is 0. This is the first of the major arcana. Look at him. See how I love these cards? Isn't that cool? Look at the dog. He's like, you're an idiot. I'm not jumping over there. He's just running in so freely. So it causes some sort of renewal or some sort of clean slate to take place here. For some of you, this just has to be with you on your own. But for some of you, this has to do with you and someone else, or having kind of a clean slate here. It's a good energy that results from this. It's also like taking a leap. Leaving something in the past and now moving forward in a taking a leap, You have the Sun in reverse. That's that disappointment card that's there. To me, this is like, getting over this. This, to me, this disappointment in all of this, This is that Leo energy, so this is what we're looking at as far as the retrograde goes. Now, in reverse, this can be a disappointment or a lack of clarity. And we talked about in the beginning a different perspective, which I think we're going to get into here when we get into the koi. But this has to do with, this full and the treatment here. You see, this is about having faith, and faith overcoming a fear of a disappointment, taking a chance here. Starting over, starting on a clean slate. And there is some kind of a disappointment here for the way that this has transpired. It's like, well, I'm disappointed that that's the way that things went, because I feel like you feel like you spent a lot of time here, or a lot of time was wasted here. But it does help you it helps you to see the road forward. Everything's clear now, so you can see forward, and you overcome this lack of clarity that you once had. And that's what's the result in this retrograde, bringing this to you. It gives you that sense of understanding, whereas you didn't have clarity before, now you do. And so whatever direction you move forward in, it's going to be healing, and you're going to feel like you can take risk more. You're going to feel more confident in yourself. You're going to feel like you have more faith in what the future holds, So tell me about what koi is. Tell me about what koi is. The 10 of Wands. Let's see if we can clarify that. You also have Aries energy there with the Fool. And the 4 of Wands. So there's a part of this where you're taking responsibility. Now, I'm not saying that you're the one responsible, but you may be just taking responsibility for yourself in the situation, as far as, maybe there was some stuff about that situation you could have helped or participated, or even if this just has to do with, hey, I should have gotten out of that a long time ago, that kind of thing. It brings peace and harmony. It's something that you've carried for a really long time. For some of you, something that you've really carried the weight of for a very long time. But it puts you in a place to where now you can make peace with whatever this is. See, the 4 of Wands, this is coming together. This is acceptance. And for some of you, you may, after you understand or see this information that you get, after you kind of work your way through it, you may actually end up in a place to where you feel responsible for bringing something back together. So that's not everybody's message, right? It could be somebody around you that feels this way. But there's someone here that feels the responsibility, or they feel driven towards wanting to have this peace and understanding. Peace and understanding. And it brings the situation together as a whole, which is way different from where you were with this. So either you're making peace with this on your own, or you're taking responsibility and making peace with this with someone else. But at the end of the day, what happens is it's like everything comes together and makes sense. And it brings peace where there was chaos. Okay? So what's the bottom of the deck? The Magician. This could be for some, I laugh because sometimes when retrograde comes in and it brings something and we're like, oh, I don't want to have to deal with this. But it could possibly be that some of you have been thinking about this. This is something that you've had it's always been in your head. It's always been in your mind. And if it is, it could, I always feel like retrograde, we manifest things back into our life that we need, but subconsciously we don't understand why. So this could be something that plays out in the dream state. Like when you're dreaming, you're thinking about this a lot because you may not consciously want to think about it or thinking about it during the day. But either way, it is something that you have wanted to bring to the forefront, have wanted to reconcile with, have wanted to make sense of. So I think that that's really important here. The Chariot here is underneath this. You have Gemini and a little Virgo and Cancer energies here. This may have been something that you were fearful of, like you were kind of afraid to look at it because you felt like there's just no way that you could possibly have all the answers. And you knew that in order for you to fully understand, you would have to have that other person, or you would have to know more information. And this may have been something that you've just kind of had to, somehow or another, without that, coped with it, forgiven the situation, or just accepted it and moved on, because you didn't have, the understanding completely. You didn't have that other person explaining to you something. You didn't have the information. You knew that the piece was missing, but you didn't know what that piece looked like or where it was. And so you just had to kind of take what you could gather from the situation and move forward. And this is coming back in to help you kind of find that. It's giving you that piece in order to complete that puzzle so that you can finally reconcile it and put it away. And I think that's really great. I think that's really great. Let's take a look and see what you can expect after this retrograde takes place. Because this does talk about, yes, it's the 10 of Wands, but it's a willingness, it's a willingness to make peace with something. That's really what we're looking at. It's difficult. It's hard. It was a hard experience. It was hard to hear. You do go through this sense of chaos. Some of you may even be kind of frustrated with the communication that you hear, for whatever reason. But even though it's difficult, you still are able to make peace with it. And I think that that's really important, because that's when new things come our way. That's when you open that space, that extra space into possibilities for future things to come your way. So let's see if we can take a look and see what that is. So after this retrograde takes place, as soon as I can get these cards up, let's see what is going to transpire. I'm going to use the Once Upon a Dream oracles. Okay. Sorry, I was hoping that dog would quit barking while I was... He's not gonna, is he? Still barking. What is the post-retrograde gonna bring? What will the post-retrograde bring after this occurs for pile 1? Faithful. Yeah, that's that full energy. It helps you to become more faithful, and your experience, or just, moving forward altogether. Self-love is needed. This helps you to reflect on yourself. You may have really given yourself a hard time about this. This may have been, if this is somebody that ran from you in some way and they just kind of left you guessing, you could have went through a period of rejection, and it could have been really hard on you. Whatever this was, it could have been really difficult. And there's a period of not only this reconciliation, but also, reflecting on yourself, and understanding that sometimes we don't know everything to its fullest, and not to blame ourselves, or take what responsibility we can from the situation, but not to be hurtful towards ourselves. Try to stay out of our head when it comes to the negative talk, because something didn't go as according to plan. So I think you just go through a period of where you do get your faith back in yourself, and I do feel like that you go through a period of self-love, which you should always be in that, but I think that you actually go through a reflection period of it. And then you have planning here. So with the shoes, you could be planning something in particular, but you could also just be planning a new direction, taking a new direction. You have broken here. Now, I picked this up in reverse and I flipped it over, but what's the bottom of the deck? Jealousy is at the bottom. I'm going to say this real quick. When we step into a place to where we've made peace with something, it really brings on a glow. We feel really good. We feel really good about ourselves, especially if you're doing the work there with self-love. If you feel really good about yourself and you feel really good about, a situation because you finally healed something that you perhaps have tried not to hold on to or think about for a long time. And it finally makes sense, hey, it wasn't me. It was, whatever else was going on. And I talked so bad, to myself, and I felt rejected. I felt this way or that way, not good enough, whatever it is. And you heal that and you realize, why am I like that to myself in situations that I can't control, And maybe it's something way outside of me that's the issue and not me. Why do I always go straight to, oh, it's got to be me? That's something that I think that you're really reflecting on. And, making a plan with this broken energy that's here, whatever pieces fell apart or whatever is in your life that you feel like is not necessarily, maybe it's you haven't been wanting to pay attention to it, or maybe it's something that you've been wanting to put back together for a long time. Whatever the case, I feel like with this broken energy, you're going to start to rebuild. I think you're going to start to pick up the pieces from everything. Short story. What I was going to say is whenever you do get into this feeling of feeling really good, it's like you're glowing, it's like when they say you've had a glow up. You start to feel confident in yourself, which reflects on the outside. This can always attract negative energies. It's like a moth to the flame. So if you're glowing, you're going to attract not the best energy sometimes. People look at you and they can be jealous, like this card said, because they have, their life isn't going the way that they want to, or maybe they don't have the freedom that you have. Maybe they worry a lot and about things, and they feel like you're so carefree. So just be prepared that, if you're in that place and you're glowing like you are and you feel good and everything's right, that doesn't mean that you're not affected by other people's negativity. So just make sure that, again, you're putting a level of protection around yourself. Let's get some advice about that. Let's use these. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong, okay? Just keep that in mind. I think that you're really headed in the right direction after this, but it may make some people around you kind of jealous. There may be someone in particular, too, that kind of sticks their nose up to this. Maybe they feel like there's a part of, okay, I'm just going to zero into this message that I'm getting. There's a part of this person that is jealous over a situation, because they feel like they deserve something that you're getting, or they feel like that they just have a lot of destruction going on in their own life. They kind of look their nose up to the plans that you're making moving forward. It's not coming from a place of this person feeling like, you know, what you're doing is wrong, or, you know, I just feel a lot of negativity from this person. This could be even somebody close to you that's just like, I don't think that that's a good idea. You know, they're not coming from a good place. They're coming from a jealous place, but you're definitely going to sense this. You're going to understand this and see this within this person. So let me see if I can get some advice about that. If it's not one person in particular, it could just be other people or negative energies like working their way towards you. Ghost of the past. Number 77. Let go of the ghosts that haunt you and stop obsessing about what you don't have. Remember, closure comes from inside of you. That says all kinds of things about this reading. So I don't even think I need to go into a lot of detail about that. Can you give me any more advice for Pile 1? Advancement. Number 5. You're about to level up. Prepare yourself to take the next step in your life and show the universe that you're ready. So there you go. Literally going from the whole phase of your reading here. Ghost of the past to advancement. I pulled 2 cards. Okay, here we go. This is it right here. And this is that message of this person. I'm telling you. Look at this. Look up 1511. Actually, I'll do it. Siri, what does the spiritual number 1511 mean? It says favorable changes, new beginnings, projects, businesses, or direction in your life. These changes come from your intentions and actions to improve your life and incorporate a more spiritual approach. Whatever it is that you're doing, again, there's somebody here that is jealous over it, disapproves of it. Just they have their own ish going on, and they're trying to kind of they're projecting onto you. So just know that that's here. And here's your advice about this. We have boundaries and be watchful. Okay. Be on the alert and aware of your surroundings. There's a red flag that you may be ignoring. Allow the truth to be revealed. So allow this person to show their true colors. Keep doing what you're doing, basically. You have boundaries here. When you don't protect or overprotect your boundaries, your needs go unmet. Review and renew your boundaries. So just make sure that you're being watchful and you're keeping your boundaries up with this person. You don't have to start anything. You don't have to comment to them. You don't have to be negative just because they're negative. Just continue to keep boundaries up and, help this person to understand where those boundaries are, okay? I would always say, speak up for yourself. If it comes to that, always speak up for yourself. Always, always, always speak up for yourself. What happens if you don't speak up for yourself is that other people feel like you don't have boundaries, and they can continue to treat you a certain way, to talk to you a certain way, to use you a certain way. So don't allow that to happen by just, brushing something under the rug. Always, always make sure that you're taking up for yourself. And there is a graceful way to do it without being negative, okay? And it's also the most rewarding feeling ever if you can be graceful with your delivery when it comes to your boundaries. Because that's when you really start seeing people's true colors. Because sometimes people are acting this way to see you react in a negative way, and then it just helps them to be like, well, see, I told you they're not so great. Or I told you that, it makes them feel better about themselves. So just beware of that. Okay, I don't want to stay on that too much. Let's get some overall energy for advice, and then we'll get some initials to close. Let's do something fun. Let's get some affirmators. Where are we at here? So my camera is way up in front of me now because I have a different chair, and So I have to get up out of my chair, which I got to figure this out. Okay, I just looked at the clock. It said 42:22, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so let's get some advice. We're going to use the affirmators. Let's do one more shuffle. These are kind of fun, and then we'll get a question card too to close. What advice do you have for pile 1? What advice do you have for pile 1 about this? What advice do you have for pile 1? Power. It's the Tankosaurus. I am strong, I am grounded, I am powerful. I am like a cross between a dinosaur and a tank, but not a tank that is used for war. I am like a peaceful, loving dino tank who feels so strong that it doesn't need to do anything but be. This is exactly the same exact thing I described with this person over here that you may be dealing with, or individuals. Let's get one more. Look, it's all that pink energy. We have friendliness. Whenever I smile, I make someone's day better. What a cool way to be happiness for free. What a cool way to buy happiness for free. Today I will remember what an awesome power I hold, and I'll take joy in improving lives simply by giving away grins like crazy. In a pinch, money will also work. Remember not to focus just on the negative person. Know that if you're in this glowing energy, you can be very inspiring to others. You know, you can bring joy and happiness to others. We're not always in that energy because life, so while you're in it, not only do the best and like use it to your advantage and wherever you are in your life, but also remember that you are, you could be a good influence on others as well. Okay, so let's get maybe. My cards are stuck. Okay, I'm just going to pull one of these because I can't get the other ones. Maybe I'm not meant to use those ones. Okay, last message for pile 1. Oh, y'all got 2 cards. You have connections, number 29, partnership, contract, and commitment, which is, I think, what we're talking about here for some of you. And then you have number 43, your eternal spirit, higher self, and sacred intuition. So when it comes to the connections around you, make sure that you're always listening to your higher self, listening to your intuition about that. And this is something that I think this whole entire situation helps you to understand how you perceive or see connections. And, you know, the significance in not only the connection itself, but what entails as far as each of you and where you are in life, what you're going through and everything. Because we're talking about really seeing a higher perspective. So take this as your lesson here in this, I think, overall, is moving forward, really remembering this and listening to your intuition here, because that's where the sacred information comes from. Okay. Let's see what we have. Okay, so pile 1, what initials or charms or whatever. We only have 2 initials. We have an R and an I. Okay, there's a little more. Oh, let me show y'all this here. Oh, no, it's not. I was thinking that it was a motorcycle the Knight of Wands was on, but it's a horse. But a motorcycle always reminds me of the Knight of Wands, just that fast-moving single energy, you know, can go super fast. So again, this is an energy I feel like that you may have dealt with or you are dealing with here in this retrograde. You have the sail ship, which is transitioning or getting to calmer waters. Also a shift in the wind, moving directions. You have, don't let your happiness depend on something that you may lose. And then we have, if you never try, you never will know. Then you have an M or a W, a U, an R, a T, an I, and an O. Oh. Okay, guys. So I'm going to leave you right here. Remember, this can be a W too. I'm going to leave you right here. So thank you so much for being here, guys. Thanks for all your love and your support and your kindness. And hopefully I will see you soon. Good luck. Hey, guys. So pile 2, we are talking about retrograde. And sorry, guys. I just had a fear that I didn't push record. So I was like, I better check that. Now, once you have that fear built into you, you have to double check it. That might have something to do with this reading. We'll see when we get into the reading itself. Now, there is a lot of shadow stuff going on here. And Mercury retrograde, it is bringing something back up. So I'm not surprised to see all the shadows here. This is giving me Gemini energy with these two that are symbolized down here at the bottom. And the moth. Let's talk about the moth for a second. So moths are kind of like butterflies in as far as they bring transformation and intuition. There's a metamorphosis that goes on here. They do symbolize change and growth. Moths are drawn towards the light, which means that they're drawn towards the truth. They're drawn towards clarity and understanding. What else can I talk about here with that? There's a part where, a moth can kind of tend to remind you to trust your instincts. And to find light, within the darkness. That's really what a moth is. That's what a moth does, right? So this does say ceremony, ritual, celebrate, and devotion. So I do feel like that as far as what this retrograde, what and who it's bringing towards you, there's something here that is a cause for celebration, or something here that you're finding yourself more devoted to. For some of you, this might have to do with a deeper understanding of yourself, like trying to understand yourself more and more, and maybe the truth of your patterns, why you perhaps do these shadow things, why certain things tend to always happen to you is something that's here with this Gemini energy. It's like you may be someone, I'm just gonna say this real quick before we get started. You may be someone that you feel like you flip from one to the other, like kind of like Jekyll and Hyde is what came to mind. But I used to have 2 dogs named Jekyll and Hyde, so that could have something to do with it. And they were that way, but they were very different. They were brothers, but they were very different. I might be onto something here with somebody. But it's like, and this may have to do with the sibling for some of you, not everybody, but it just like the differences in how you can live your lives, even if you grow up in the same type of environment, how different you can be, because we take different things away from it because of who we are. And there may be something here that has resulted in some sort of pattern that you are becoming illuminated to, that can help you change or transform the way of doing things moving forward. And for some of you, this may be like highlighted through a sibling or through a friend or through a loved one that you're seeing a different, like you may have experienced very similar things, but they're coming out in a different way from what you are, and investigating that more, looking at that more. I feel like this really has to do with some sort of pattern that's being highlighted. And the other thing I was going to say is the Jekyll and Hyde energy, you know, there's one part of that that's really like organized and on track and responsible and all that. And then there's the other side of it that is very chaotic and all over the place and very reactive. So I feel like for some of you, you may be questioning why it is that you react to certain situations in the way that you do. And it may not involve anyone else. It could just involve your own behavior. This could be a blockage for you in your life. And this is being highlighted somehow in this retrograde. So let's see how that is. Usually that will come in a Tower moment. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see the Tower card. But we're going to start with the answer oracles to see if we can get an understanding of what this pre-shadow and retrograde will bring your way. What is the pre-shadow and retrograde bringing? What and who to pile to? I just saw hide, but it didn't come out. So yeah, there's something about yourself, I feel like, that's somehow been hidden from you. And this is what's being highlighted. We have run. Could be why you run from situations or try to escape from situations. Like you have a hard time dealing with certain things. Always remember in these readings too. Okay, I'm seeing two of the same flower right now. And they are, what do you call those flowers? Hold on. I have to figure this out. Oh, of course, they just went off. So I have some of these flowers, and then I looked over and I saw them on the TV. I think I know what they are, but let me just double check on that, and I'll keep shuffling one. It's a type of daisy. They're white petaled, and they have a yellow center. I don't know if this is making any sense to anybody, but they symbolize purity and innocence and new beginnings. Purity, innocence, and new beginnings. Okay. Purity, innocence, and new beginnings. So with Chase being here, and this seeking energy, you could be somebody that always, like, you have a hard time completely closing something out or dealing with something to the point to where you just want to run away from it. Like you don't want to deal, you just kind of escape, or you just kind of run away, or seek something else. And this could be that shadow that we're talking about. Yield. See all the butterflies? This says, this is an energy of acceptance, but yield. It's funny because it says run and then yield. So it reminds me of like when you get to a yellow light and you're like, am I going to stop or go? Am I going to stop or go? So you may be somebody that that's indecisive, like you have a hard time making a decision, so you may just jump to escape. This could be part of that pattern. A piano could be relevant here for somebody. But this is like, you're accepting something, I feel like, about yourself. This could also be you accepting this about someone else, so keep that in mind. We have reflection, so definitely something to reflect on. See, this says repentance too, so it's almost like you recognize this within yourself. Maybe you've done this here recently, and this is something that you're wanting to, you wanting to confess, or you wanting to, with this repentance that's here, it has to do with surrender and acceptance. Okay, let me keep going so I can bring it all together. Show. Some of y'all might have a bigger spotlight here in this. Like there's something that you're learning here where you can express it to others or show it to others in some kind of way. And we have fusion. So whatever happens here, what it does is this is the ending of this. Look, God, that is so awesome. I mean, I just clicked. It took a second, right? It's the white daisies. So that is so cool. Anyway, this is a stump that's here, and you have the flowers. So even though there's something here that's not, that maybe you have to cut off, or that's not working out, or that you feel like is, there's something here that may be transpiring here for you that's addressing all of this. There has to be some sort of something that's bringing this into focus for you. I just can't get over that. That's pretty cool. This is that new beginning, that purity, that purifying. But see how the flowers turn it into something beneficial, turn it into something great. Brings harmony to it. Instead of it just being an old stump where a tree once grew, you're bringing some kind of beauty to this whole thing. So cool. Sorry, having a hard time getting over that. Look at the bottom of it. It's redemption. That's what I'm feeling here, like a turning point. Okay, so this definitely feels like more of a self-focused, I mean, they all should be, but this is definitely about you. I don't feel a lot of anyone else here, but of course, do you see that fly that just landed on yield? The fly, it's so crazy. I know that's not crazy to y'all, but in this reading and the stuff that's going through my head, for that fly to land on the yield is crazy, because so accepting that something is ready for you to close out. The fly always represents to me like decay, when flies start to come, then it's something that needs your attention, because it's time for you to get past that. It's time for you to throw that out. We're getting flies here. So this is definitely something that has been causing maybe destruction or chaos, this pattern that you've had, where you maybe run from situations, or you don't, face things dead on. This could have been something that developed too in your childhood, possibly around a parent, or your, parental, whoever that is to you, or it's just what you've seen is someone else kind of escaping or running from their issues, or running from their problems, and having a hard time facing something head on, or taking responsibility. They just tend to escape or run towards something else. They don't really ever necessarily deal. And so you've kind of, we can't hold that over our head. When we're children, everything has such an impression on us. We watch everything and try to make sense of it, because we don't have sense of anything. And we adapt to our surroundings. And that's why I talked about in the sibling energy, you can grow up seeing something. Let's just say you grow up with a parent that is an escapist, and so you kind of fall into that pattern, because you adapt the way they're teaching you to escape your issues, escape your problems. You may have a sibling that saw that and wanted to do the opposite, because they saw how it was destructive in that parent's life. And so the two of you just came out of that differently, and you may not have a sibling. This is just an example. I think for you guys, you may realize that you hold a little bit of this with you, and it's time for you to, change that pattern. That fly landing on there is saying, yes, it's time to throw that pattern out. It's time to change that pattern. You need to surrender and accept this, and force your way through to this reflective period, to where you can reconcile that within yourself, have this redemption take over, have this turning point take place. Confess that this is part of your pattern, and this is part of what you do, and there's no shame in that, because especially if it's something that was a result of how you were taught or how you were raised, that's something that as an adult, sometimes we don't fully see. And there's things that happen in our life that we kind of sit and we realize. So I think you should commend yourself for being able to actually see the pattern itself. and then comes the repentance, and then comes the confession. And then you go into the show energy, which is, when you repent and you start over, it's like that new beginning that takes place. And I don't want to keep saying the word repent, because I know it makes me have a religious feeling to it. But I don't mean for it to. It's more of a state of reflection and understanding and realizing things about yourself. And that takes a lot of courage, it's so hard to see things in ourselves because we want to protect ourselves. And it's hard for us to admit that we've done anything, or we've been stuck in any kind of pattern that's created our own harm, our own destruction. Even if that just comes down to the people that we choose to be in our lives. Even if it comes from love. Sometimes we overgive of ourselves because we love the people that are in our lives. And even though we know that can result in our, our heartbreak, our own heartbreak, and learning where our boundaries are. But this show energy that's here is the spotlight. This, like what we talked about here, is like everything is like being shown to you, expressed to you, is in the spotlight here. And you go from this energy here to this alignment, where you can bring harmony and peace towards what this is, so that you can move forward and collaborate now with knowing that you have this pattern that you carry. And so you can move forward and have better results and have a better overall well-being. Okay, so the big thing here for Mercury retrograde is it's bringing some highlight to some patterns that you have in your life. And with that is going to bring a new beginning and a turning point for you. This is a turning point. And not everybody has to take that turning point and go with it. But I feel like y'all are. I feel like y'all are seeing it, you're facing it dead on, and you're using it to change your direction and using it as a turning point. Okay. Oh, by the way, this is pretty cool right here for run, because the Knight of Wands is the runner for me. Let's move these up. I always feel like I accidentally don't get all the cards in the frame, and then I kind of kick myself in the butt later. That might be something here for y'all. Like you don't feel like you get what you need done or something, and then you kind of kick yourself in the butt. You may be a procrastinator. You have this Knight of Wands in reverse, which is this card for me. It's the runner. This is also the Tarot of Mystical Peaks. It's a new deck, and it's pretty awesome. Golly, guys, my phone is over here just blowing up. My friend is just blowing up over here on my phone. This may be kind of like what I talked about before. This may be like others. You put others before yourself, and then you put your stuff on the back burner, and then before you know it, your stuff is destroyed, but everybody else is doing great, and you're like, ugh. Ever feel like that? Why is the yield here? Actually, we're going to do this a little different. I'm going to go ahead and get clarifiers as I go. And that's my son that y'all hear in the background. He is playing his game. Let's talk about this real quick while I'm getting a clarifier out for this. To me, this is showing me the pattern that you see. And for some of you, this has to do with choices that you make around connections. But this is also like, running from a situation, escaping from a situation with the Knight of Wands in reverse. It can be somebody that's very impulsive. So this may be you. You may have this pattern of where you impulsively just want to run from the situation instead of kind of dealing with it like we talked about. Yeah, 5 of Cups. This is running from your, your mistakes, or your, like, you have a hard time controlling situations, and then you may run out of time, and then you regret it later. It's like whatever happens here that you're running from, you feel a sense of regret almost immediately, or immediately following that. Now, how this is being highlighted in this retrograde is, I feel like that there's some sort of disappointment that's here, and it's a result of something that you didn't act on when you had an opportunity or chance. This could be any area and anything in your life. But you're definitely looking at it like this, like, why did I do that? Why did I not deal with that? Why did I not move forward with that? Why did I not take action there when I needed to? And it has to do with being impulsive and wanting to just escape, the issue. What was the issue? What was the Five of Cups from? The Ace of Wands in reverse. There's that lost opportunity. This is regretting not taking the opportunity for something when you had the chance to. This is like, I'm going to put this into perspective. It can kind of be like someone saying, let's just say somebody showed up at your house. This is going to be silly, but let's just say somebody showed up at your house and they're like, hey, I have my mower while I'm here. You want me to mow? And you're like, no, I'll do it later. I don't want to worry about it right now. Or, no, I don't want to, whatever it is that's coming in. It's like, no, I don't want to spend the money on that right now. Or, no, I don't want to worry about that yet. I'm going to put that off later. I'm going to put that off till later, and then before you know it, your grass is like a foot tall, and you're like, I should have took that person up on their opportunity when they gave it to me. Or I should have took care of that when I had the chance. It's that kind of a thing that's here. And I feel like a lot of y'all, this has to do with procrastinating, but you had some kind of opportunity. What was the opportunity? I'm going to get a little bit nosier. Look at that. Some of you had an opportunity to set the record straight. Some of you had an opportunity to... So sorry. Here we go. Losing my voice. Some of you had an opportunity to speak up, to express yourself, to go after something, to create something here. This is about taking a risk. And I feel like y'all didn't take it, and you risk something else because you didn't take it when you had the risk. And this could just simply be like, you had an opportunity to go back to zero, or to start over in some kind of way, and you didn't use it to your advantage. Instead, you kind of escaped that. The wands have to do with taking responsibility as well. Why is yield here? Why didn't you? Hold on, I have to see why you didn't. I feel like I need a little backstory here. No, I think that will come out with reflection. Let's see what yield is. What is yield? The Sun in reverse. This is having to accept some sort of disappointment. Leo energy and judgment. Scorpio energy. This is having to accept or surrender. You could be even in a place to where you're forced into something. You're forced into taking the disappointment because it's no longer your judgment call, it's someone else's. Because you didn't take that opportunity when you had that chance. This is about you accepting. This is like accepting reality. Accepting the reality of the situation. Why is reflection here? There's the Tower. Told ya. Scorpio energy with that reflection. This is that repentance. This to me is the confession, letting it out, being honest, expressing, like just being honest with yourself, the truth revealing itself. It's like, okay, this is my fault. I did this. I created this tower because I put something off. That was a mistake. I should have acted on it when I had the chance instead of doing that. Some of you, this could be somebody else, okay? So just keep that in mind that's around you. Why is the tower here? What is that tower? Oh, look at that. Ace of Pentacles. So what's funny about this Ace of Pentacles here with the tower is that you have this opportunity here, but now you have this opportunity here. From a tower moment always comes a new beginning. There's always, like, if a tower falls, there's always something that comes to replace it. It may not be something that you're really driven or passionate or fiery about like you were back here, but it is still something that's solid. But again, the way that he's holding that pentacle and he's about to plant it into the ground, this is, I feel like, you having this opportunity, like you're seeing this tower as an opportunity for you to start over or start again. And that goes back to the pattern that we talked about. So what's really happening here is out of this tower moment, whatever that looks like for y'all, it's an opportunity, and you're seeing it as that because you're reflecting on it. Okay, so this is an opportunity for me to not do this again. This was a lesson. I understood it. I should have took a chance when I had it. I should have done something when I needed to, instead of running away from it, and taking care of it when I should have instead of running away from it, or took the risk and took the opportunity, and I didn't. And so, yes, I'm disappointed now because I'm forced into this decision, or I'm forced into this new beginning, but it's still an opportunity for me to have a clean slate here, and to have something more solid. So you do get another opportunity here. It may not be exactly what you desired, but it is something solid. Okay, great. Great. That's a good thing, right? Six of Pentacles in reverse. That this may be something that where you may feel somewhat imbalanced for a little while. Like you may rely on others for some of you, not everybody, but the Six of Pentacles in reverse can be like, relying on someone else for your needs. Hoping someone's going to be generous with you here. But this can also be like feeling somewhat imbalanced. And again, I feel like what this has given you is the spotlight on you not giving to yourself the same that you give to everyone else. So, let's just put this into perspective here. Let's just say I got paid, and before I took care of my needs, I went and, decided I wanted to go, let's say my friend here. I wanted to go take her out. So I went and took her somewhere and paid for everything and this and that. And then when it came back down to it, everyone else was happy, but I didn't take care of my own needs. And so now I'm behind to where I should be fine because I just gave to everyone else. So the Six of Pentacles in reverse is like escaping from situations that have to do with your own responsibilities so that you can provide that giving nature that you have. But when you give too much and you don't have enough for yourself, that's when it becomes toxic. That's when it becomes an imbalance. And this may be something that is shining light on this. This may be the pattern that we talked about before. Where you fill yourself up in a good energy providing for others, but you're not prioritizing yourself and your own needs first. And you can't give to everyone else until you have to make sure that you're giving to yourself. Otherwise, it puts a negative energy out there. It puts almost like a resentment, because then you're down and out. And who knows if those other people are going to give to you the same way you gave to them. You know, and maybe they're not obligated to. Maybe they're, obviously, you know, or maybe they're not in a position to where they can even. And then it can cause, like, I don't know, bitterness and resentment and everything else to kind of stir up inside of you. For what reason? You know, because you put everyone else's needs above your own. That's why it's so important. That's why it's so important. And you can be there for other people in other ways outside of, you know, your own detriment, you know? So there's a bigger lesson here on this for you guys. That's being highlighted here. Okay, let's keep going. Why is the Six of Pentacles in the reverse? The Lover's in reverse. So there's a part of you here that may feel somewhat out of touch or out of balance, out of alignment, which is funny because this is what this card is about, alignment. You know, it's also a card of choice. So choosing what you feel like is right for you. I mean, it's kind of what we just talked about. It can be about self-love, giving back to yourself before you can give to anyone else. That's the Lovers here. But then you have this alignment that's here. I mean, this could even be, if this has to do with a relationship, this can be like, let's just say you just give in a relationship, and you just give and you give and you give and you give, and then you feel depleted and you start to resent the other person for not giving you the same energy. But, you know, you're the one that, like, made the choice to give everything to the other person and put your own needs and wants and things to the side. So there's just spotlight on this and this pattern that you have. And then you go into this alignment. So this is the spotlight. This is what you understand, what you see. And then you go into, okay, now that I understand and I see this, or now that I'm in this position that I'm in, where I don't feel fully aligned with where I'm at, but I also know that it's where I need to be at this time, then you go into this fusion, which is that stump and those flowers. You know, making the best out of a bad situation is here. Making something out of, I wanted to say making something out of nothing, but making something out of, like there's something here that didn't work out or grow in the way that you intended, but you're making the best out of that, finding alignment or peace with it. Okay, well, I'm not meant to have that card. Let's, what is fusion here for? Fusion. That card wouldn't come out of the deck. We have a Page of Wands in the reverse. You have the Eight of Swords. And you have the Three of Wands at the bottom of the deck. What's under that? The Six of Swords. Perfect. Yeah, I like this. Okay, I like it. I like it. Where's the other sword here in this? Oh, it's in her back. It's on her back, not in her back. On her back. See, the Four of Swords in this is funny because, and there's that stump that's there. Look at that. It's about reevaluating a situation in order to do what? To transition with the Six of Swords, to get to a calmer place. And the Three of Wands is giving yourself that time or that distance that you need, and waiting for the right opportunity. That Four of Swords, to me, there's a heavy significance of you slowing down. Like, whatever this is, it slows you way down. It's like you go from the 8 to the 4. So I feel like it slows you down pretty significantly. And what happens is it makes you reevaluate, which is what we're seeing in this whole thing. How did I end up here? How did I get to this point? Why did I make the choices that I did? You're looking at those three swords on the stump. So if this is something that caused some sort of separation, hurt, maybe there's something that you had to let go of, then you're really like looking at it. You're really taking the time to reevaluate how everything played out. And I think that you're holding that, you're owning that sword there. She's carrying it on her back. So it's like carrying the responsibility of the truth of what part you played in this situation, and getting yourself to a calmer place. This Page of Wands here with this Eight of Swords, as far as the future energy goes of this, I feel like for some of you, there is going to be, I'm going to get some future energies out while I'm talking. I feel like for some of you, there is going to be this message. There's either a message that you want to send or that someone wants to send you, that you're looking at it and you're like, I don't know if this is a good or bad thing. I don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea. And you kind of get in your head a little bit about that. It's because you're trying to figure out, this may have to do with some collaboration, like whether or not someone will collaborate with you and if you should, involve them or not, or if you should be open to someone or not. Like, should you say anything? I have to get more about this. Can you tell me more about this? For some of you, this may have to do with a relationship and an equal give and take when it comes to a relationship. You may be in your head here about someone, and if I just had deja vu like crazy. I just had deja vu like crazy. And what I had deja vu about was sitting down and talking to somebody about a reading that I did and a particular part in the reading and what it meant to that person. Anyway, so crazy, weird. So deja vu is so weird, the feeling that you feel from it. Which is funny because we're talking about retrograde and energies coming back. So this may feel like deja vu for y'all, but there may be someone here that you are in your head about whether or not this is someone that you really align with. Maybe what to say to this person, how to respond to this person. Tell me more about this. The King of Wands in reverse. That's Leo energy. There's something that someone says here that does put you in your head. But I think this is what's coming in the post-retrograde, because I feel like what's highlighted here is going to help you here. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that ambulance? Asha said it's going to help you here. That's weird. You rarely hear that in my town too. I live in a small town. You rarely hear that here. You have more Leo energy with strength and the Three of Cups in reverse. There's somebody that's here. Somebody is here that you may be distanced yourself from. This could even be something you see or something you hear about someone. This may be like a weakness. This person, this strength energy, it could be about this person, and like this to me is like not great news either. The Knight of Wands in reverse. I don't feel like this is everybody's message, okay? But whatever comes up after this whole spotlight is shown on you and you reconcile and reflect and redeem yourself from this pattern that you've been in, this is something that may approach you, and you're going to react to it differently because of this, you waking up to the pattern that you've been in. It's like you look at it immediately and you're like, nope. And it has something to do with someone. there may be some, we talked a lot about helping others, and I feel like this may have something to do with someone that's needing you or wanting you or needing some kind of help, or you get some kind of negative news about, and it's like you get kind of trapped in your head about it, because I feel like of how you see this person. Oh my gosh, I just smelt like men's shaving cream. You maybe just really attracted to this person. But this is something that definitely puts you in your head, and it's almost like an immediate lesson. You see all these 8s here, and then you have the 3. So the 8 is about reaction. It's about, what action you're taking. The 3 is about the growth that you've had. So it's like, oh, you outgrew something here. But this is something that still puts you in your head. Like, Spirit's not giving you any leeway here. That's like, okay, you want redemption, you want to repent, you see this pattern, you want to change. You think you've seen it, you think you've changed it, you think you can do better. Here's the test. Interesting. You have the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom of the deck. You have these 2 children here. It could be important to somebody as well. You also have a line that's over here, just like here with the Strength, that Leo energy. And this is retrograde in Mercury, retrograde in Leo. So that Wheel of Fortune that's there is, there's an opportunity that's here. This is something that's faded. We need to know more about this. I want to know more about this. Why are you in your head here with this 8 of Swords about this? Why are you in your head? The 10 of Wands. It's kind of a burden on you. You feel kind of burdened in some way. You may feel responsible for something. Oh, I get it. This can be like you taking responsibility for others. And you're trying to not do that and put some boundaries up, but then something happens with someone and it's hard for you because this is someone that you had maybe a close connection with, or you do have a close connection with, but you try to distance yourself from this person. I feel like this is someone that may be upset or impulsive, or they may be driven. What is driving this person? But there's an energy here of you feeling bad. And this is the challenge for you. What's driving this person? What is this about? For some of you, I just heard this could be a parent. The 9 of Pentacles. That's what's driving this person. Is this you? The 4 of Cups in the reverse. Be careful of this person, because I feel like they're aware either that you're single, or that you're well off, or that you're stable, that you have what they need, whatever that is. But there's something here about you that this person sees as beneficial. Like they're aware of your status. Why do you feel the 10 of Wands with this? The Moon. Because it brings like you worry. Why are you worried about this? Why does this bring you the Moon? Cancer, Pisces energy. The 7 of Pentacles. You're worried about how this is going to have a long-term, what the long-term effect of this will be. Okay. What is this person, why are they coming in like this? It's almost like something comes in and you know this doesn't align with you. This may be even something you've already made peace with. But this person has a way of, and this could be from a third-party source that you're hearing about, this person has a way of making, like, even it's just maybe the connection that you share, but you feel bad. And that really challenges you. And it puts you in your head a lot. But you try to like tune into your intuition here because you feel like there's a lot of things that are hidden with this person. And you're trying to look at it in the long term, how this all will affect your well-being, their well-being, everything. And there's a part of you that feels somewhat responsible, but then there's another side of you that wants to maintain that awareness that you just came into as well. This could be a friend that may be taking advantage of you here. Or a parent. Why are they, what do they want from you? One more and then I'm going to get off of this, okay? But I feel like this is definitely important because it's what you're going to have to experience. There it is, the Seven of Swords and the Five of Pentacles in reverse. This is somebody that wants you to get them out of something. This is someone that may have done something sneaky or something, or they want to do something sneaky, you know? This is someone that wants to get out of the cold here. They may be wanting to express to you they're different or they've changed or they're trying to do something in a different way. I feel like this is someone that you just don't trust. Yeah, definitely. Definitely someone that you just don't trust. They're wanting you to help them get out of something. What is it? What is that? The Seven of Swords. The King of Cups. Scorpio energy. This is someone that's really going to put on the charm here. They're also going to maintain a sense of emotional stability. So it's going to be harder to read this person. And that's part of why this makes this so difficult. This is someone that if they know that you love and care about them, they're going to use that. Someone that wants you to help them get out of something. With that King of Cups. And the Four of Wands. Ceremony. This could involve some sort of event, a get-together, coming together. This can be just someone that's wanting to come out of the cold here with you and tell you they've changed and they still have feelings for you and they want to resolve some issues or come together. Okay. I'm going to get off of that. Oh boy, I landed on the Empress. It's exciting. So the Empress is Libra and Taurus energy, by the way. And this person over here is Scorpio and Leo. But they don't have to be. But there's double Leo here. Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer on your side. Just the energy they're coming in. This Empress here, I love seeing it at the bottom of the deck. Because, yeah, this has to do with you being in your power. Being able to now see what's going to grow and what's not going to grow. But you're being tested into, okay, now you see it. Now you have to implement that and, take responsibility, even if it's something that is heavy, weighs on you, in order to better fit your own needs or desires or take care of yourself. I love that Empress there. It symbolizes your growth and expansion, jealousy. So If you're going to be in an Empress energy, I just got done telling Paul on this. If you are in an energy where you feel like you've had a glow up or you feel really confident or good about yourself, you're always going to have some kind of negative energy that's attracted to that. That feels feels negatively about the energy that you're in. You know, if you're in the spotlight, someone's always going to have something negative to say about you. But you are definitely in this powerful place. Yeah, the Queen of Swords is at the bottom, is underneath that. Wait, hold on. Temperance is there too. Sagittarius and Libra. And Death with the High Priestess. Look at all this major arcana. Holy smokes. You may have turned someone away here with that Ace of Cups in reverse. You may have blocked someone off or out. Listening to your intuition now. I don't know why I feel like for some of you this is apparent. It doesn't have to be a masculine energy either. It's just because it's coming up as a king. It just means that it's like an authority. That's why I keep wanting to say a parent. This could even be a boss, you know. Okay, anyway. You're listening to your higher self with that High Priestess, Pisces energy. You have Death here, Scorpio energy. And you're doing things differently with that Death. You know, we saw that fly earlier. It's like you're not doing something in the same way. You're transforming. The Queen of Swords, she's in reverse. She is not playing. She cuts people out that don't, that bring chaos into her life. And you have this Temperance here in reverse. Sagittarius energy, which is showing me that it's like a disruption. Anything that disrupts your peace, you know, or if there's an unwillingness to compromise, or if something just doesn't make sense to you or aligns with you, then you step into your power, this Empress energy, and you take care of that. Okay. Good for y'all. You're in a good energy. You may not be there yet, but you're getting there. You may already see start to see the pre-shadow of this Mercury retrograde taking place here. Okay. What advice? Oh, I'm sorry. What is this going to bring moving forward? What can Pile to expect now from this moving forward? You have celebration. You have uncertainty. And there's your power right there. I like it. Bottom of the deck is options. Okay, so what's going to happen moving forward? I think that you're going to have something to celebrate here moving forward. I feel like that you may just be put into a place to where you feel, what are you doing, George? Do not try to jump on my desk. Please, I have no room for you. I'm so sorry. He was making me nervous the way he was staring over here at me. So you, with this celebration, you may be in a place to where you realize that you have something to celebrate, starting to celebrate the things that are going right in your life, that you feel like you're in control. That in itself is something to celebrate. This uncertainty here is understanding that the future may look a little bit uncertain, but you're still in your power, and you still have options here. Okay. What advice? Oh, whoa. Okay. A new dawn. I love it. And take the initiative. Okay. So 7 and 3 could be a very important number for you going into this new phase, which is also the number 10, which is about completions. We saw that Wheel of Fortune there earlier. Closing out a cycle, starting something new. You have a new dawn here. 3 is about growth. 7 is about alignment. So growing from this experience, going towards what really aligns with you, and, closing chapters out and starting new ones. You have the light is slowly creeping in to bring you positive new changes and a chance to step into your own personal power. And then you have take the initiative, number 17. Waiting for things to happen will not work. Make your own way forward to put yourself in a position to win. So I think in the future here, going from all of this, you're going to really be focused more on putting yourself in the right positions and not letting other people or other things take advantage of that. There really is someone here that's trying to resurrect something for some of you. Be aware. A past lover is returning into your life. Listen to your intuition and be open to the reunion's lessons and blessings. You can be open to the lesson here, but it doesn't mean you have to be open to the connection. So take it how it resonates. Some of you may, some of you won't. I do feel like it is some sort of a new lesson for you after this new understanding in yourself. So keep that in mind. Okay. Let's get some affirmators, and then we'll get one more card to close and some initials. So hopefully this helps, guys, you going through this retrograde and what you'll be experiencing. I just saw 12:21 on the clock there as well. Okay. No need to do more. It says do this, do that. And this falls into line with that, with the, like, you know, doing things for others or whatever, or everyone else. I'm exactly where I need to be, exactly when I need to be. There's nothing more that I need to do. I mean, yes, there's always be laundry and taxes, but in the terms of my life's path, I don't need to do anything because I am already here. I take a deep breath, relax, and trust, and then I do laundry. Because the laundry has to get done. Okay, let's get an overall card for advice moving forward from the Spirit and Energy Oracles. What do you have? For pile 1, pile 2, I'm sorry. What do you have for pile 2? Leave them with. Guess what? It's the number 10. It says Archangel Raziel. Guys, I'm not good at pronouncing anything. I'm just going to be honest. Let me see if I can get this right real quick. Raziel. Hold on. I'm just not going to be satisfied until I look it up. And of course, my phone's not going to let me look it up. Okay, so I'm sorry. We're going to leave it there, but I tried. Wisdom, inspiration, and the golly. I know how to say this. Dang it. So frustrating. It's so frustrating when the words, they just won't come out of my mouth. I mean, acoustic. That's as close as I can get it, guys. I'm sorry. That's a struggle. Whew. That was embarrassing and such a struggle for me. I do apologize. Akashic records. Akashic records. So those of you that don't know, I'm severely dyslexic, and I feel like the older I get, the worse it gets, even though I try to like do what I can to help it. In these readings, sometimes I feel like I stutter like very bad. I can see the word and hear it in my mind. I just can't say it out of my mouth. So sometimes, I don't know if y'all know much about it, and there's all different kinds of types, but I like to put letters in where they're not supposed to go when I'm sounding things out, or when I'm seeing the word and sounding it out or saying it. So yeah, y'all don't make fun of me. So I apologize about that, but that is what it is. So this is the number 10, which again is about that completion or closing out a cycle. And she's kind of like putting her wish out there, you know. But this says also wisdom and acoustic. Still gonna try. Still trying. Wisdom and inspiration. So being inspired, or being, using all this wisdom that you've gained to inspire you to now, like, that you see all the things that you see. Okay, so now my life's going to be different. I'm going to start doing things a lot differently, and it's going to better my overall life Now that I know, now that I see this, and now that I can close this out and cut this out, now my life is going to be so much different and in such a better way. Okay. Oh, I feel like y'all got a lot of charms, but we have GO here, or OG. Go. We have love is never wasted. If you never try, you'll never know. I'm not a morning person. Good to know. I lost my mind. I have a friend of mine who stayed over here and a few times, and I realized that they're not a morning person, and I am. and so I just decided, okay, well, that's good to know. And they told me I'm not really a morning person. It takes me a while, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's good to know. So I won't be that person around you in the morning, and I'll give you some time. That will help me from feeling like you're mad at me, and it will help you from me being on your nerves. I lost my mind. You have the pause, so loyalty is something that's here, or leaving an imprint on you. I do feel like for some of y'all, there's something to do with a parent here where somebody left a big imprint on how what your pattern is. Yeet or be yeeted. And then you have the pill bottle, which is about taking care of yourself and doing what you need to for yourself. Okay. All right, guys. So I am going to leave you here, and I hope this helps. Good luck to you with this. And I'm sending you all the love and light. And thanks so much for being here. Thanks for all your love and support and kindness. That's not going to stay, so I hope this helps. Good luck to you guys, and I hope to see you soon. Bye. Hey, Pile 3. So if you can't tell, yes, everything's different. It's been a couple of days since I did Pile 1 and 2. So, my nails look different. My shirt's different. But we are still, today's the first day of the pre-shadow of the retrograde. So we are still good as far as me getting this out and getting this to y'all before you start going through these experiences. So it is Mercury in retrograde, and I did have a very difficult time with my camera getting y'all's reading going. It took me an extra 30 minutes. I kept having things pop up on my camera that normally aren't supposed to be there, and so that just makes me want to say, y'all be really careful about your any kind of technical issues. Make sure all your electronics are up to date, have their backups, good and everything. Because I feel like that might have been a pre-warning for you guys. And then also, this card is so interesting to me because this is actually, I read what it says in the book, and I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's just a lot. But I do want to read a part of it because I think it would be interesting to whoever wants to hear it. But it does, if you can't tell, this looks like a female, and it's meant to. It talks about birthing, going into a different world, basically, birthing something new. And it can make or break you, is kind of what it entails. But the moon is inside of there, But this is also something else. Now, this does say the portal access to the infinite. But this border that's here, in this card, it also talks about having boundaries and also having boundaries with yourself and the things that you feel. Now, the reason this is so crazy to me is because lately I've been actually wondering this. I've been actually wondering, when we do, especially if you're empathic and if you especially do readings like this. I want to say this real quick though. Being an empath, everyone and everybody has the ability to tap into energy and other people's emotions. Some people's are more sensitive than others, and there's different reasons for that, but one of the reasons for that is if you were in an environment when you were young, very young, if you were absorbed or having to absorb other people's emotions in order to maintain your own peace. So you had to be very aware of everyone else's mood and the mood of the atmosphere in order to feel like you needed to protect yourself. So you may have went through some trauma. You may have, lived in a very unpredictable situation. It will make you more sensitive to energies because you're already tuned into that. You kind of grew up with that. So it will cause you to be way more sensitive as far as, being an empath goes. And especially like sometimes we can feel like we pick up on other people's energies, even if we're not around them or with them, especially people we're very closely connected to. And lately I feel like I'm picking up on someone else's energy because my energy will switch pretty rapidly sometimes, and then I'll have some very intense dreams. Like a couple nights ago, I had a dream where I was picturing someone I know arguing with someone else in front of me. It was very real, felt very real. And I actually woke up very mad, very frustrated. And I knew that wasn't from me. I don't have any reason to be that way. So, it's things like that and protecting yourself and protecting your energy and knowing when what's yours is not. So that's what I've been feeling. And then I read this and I want to share it. It says, empathic people often have a wide open sacral chakra and absorb energies around them unknowingly, and will often mistake this energy as their own. People who are constantly caring for others' needs and not their own have a similar boundary issue with the sacral. Setting an intention that your sacral chakra opening, chakras are shaped like cones that extend out from both the front and the back of the body, is set at 25 to 35% can have a positive effect. But this reset will have to be repeated often. Otherwise, the chakra will default to the previous setting until the next setting is firmly established. So I thought, that's kind of interesting. Maybe that was a message that I'm getting here that I need to do something like that, So for those of you that maybe have felt that same way, since this is y'all's reading, hopefully that's helpful. It does also go on to say that when this card comes up in a reading, it is directing the intention to this potent creative space. So, and it may be what your chakra needs, why your chakra needs turning. For example, stated above, or maybe your womb is wanting to remind you of a creative potential that you hold within your body. So I do feel like that whatever this is, this may be your blockage. If you're in a position to where you're struggling with your creative side, because when our emotions sometimes can get in the way of our creative energy, sometimes we can also use those emotions to create something great. But if they're not our own emotions, that can be that blockage. So that might be something that you want to look into is, resetting your sacral chakra. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. I wanted to share. So let's take a look and see what this is going to entail, because I do feel like with all that being said, this is going to lead you into something big, like going into a whole different shift or a whole different energy. So we're going to start with the answer oracles. I need to take a breath, guys. Okay. Sorry if it's coming out fast, but it just happens. Health and run. Don't run from your health issues. You hear that plane? Because they'll catch up to you. These readings have been very synchronistic. So I'm excited to see if something comes out in y'all's readings that's very synchronistic, because the other two piles were. Okay. So what can you expect, pile 3? What or who may be coming in? What or who may be coming in this retrograde? What or who may be coming in this Mercury retrograde for pile 3? Cooperation. Okay. What or who may be coming in for pile 3? That card came out weird. Anniversary. Okay. Worth. Those cards are flying out. Spendthrift. Hurricane. Oh, man, guys. That's some heavy energy right there. I can feel that in my chest. I honestly feel like that some of you are about to cause your own hurricane intentionally. So, and it's kind of scary. Like, I feel kind of like nervous. Like, I don't want to say scared. It's really nervous, but that there is fear behind it. So I do feel like that y'all are fixing to go through like a really big, like you're fixing to break through some barriers here, okay? This hurricane, you know, this talks about sudden disaster, destruction, upheaval. But I do feel like that this is a good thing, because I feel like you're the one that's bringing it. So you're in control of it. This is a big day. I kind of laughed when the anniversary card came out, because with cooperation, and especially now worth, you know, after that, this is a big, whatever this is, it's going to be a big day for you. There's going to be a very important particular day in this growth that you're fixing to do. I mean, you're fixing to show, like, you're already there. You know, you are in tune with y'all's reading is very different from the other piles. I feel like it's very spiritual in nature. Y'all are in tune here with your your spiritual side. I mean, I feel like this cooperation here is you getting on board with being in the flow of things. You see how she is here. I stutter sometimes, guys, and I think it's worse when I have a lot in my head and I'm trying to get out at one time. So bear with me. You're listening. You're listening to whatever's coming your way. You know, you're paying attention here. You have your eyes set to wanting to understand, wanting to know, wanting to accept, wanting to cooperate. You know, you're moving along with the wave, with the current, instead of trying to fight against it. So you're in a place, in a state of mind. I think now you're in this place to where you're just kind of ready to take on. You know, you're ready to take on whatever comes your way. And I feel like that is kind of graduation day for y'all, you know, because I feel like it's taken you a really long time to get to this point. Some really like intense, I don't know why I feel like I need to pull a card for that. Peace. That almost made me cry. That card coming out. It's taken y'all a really long time to get to this place of peace. Of peace with whatever it is. Whatever you've went through, whatever you've experienced, it's like you finally have reached that level of acceptance. And it's you're starting to see, if you haven't yet, how it's affecting you in not only a certain situation, but also other areas in your life, which is always great to see, because it's like how one lesson that you've experienced and how difficult that was to go through, but you overcame that challenge and you found peace with it, how that in itself can affect so many other areas of your life. Because there's a sense of understanding life and what's important, which brings me to worth. And I think that y'all really went through a period of something here that may have impacted your worth or your efforts or your value in some kind of way, which is worth. I think that what we're seeing here is that there is a day for you to almost, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a day that's going to come in the very near future where you're going to be able to exercise this understanding of your peace and what it means to you, and maintaining that and allowing things to just unfold. You're not allowing anything to affect the way that you see yourself. And I think that that's just like really great, because that it takes, not that you won't ever, it's going to be like a constant reminder. But the thing is that the way that you deal with that is so much different from the way that maybe you used to deal with it. Like, definitely, I would say, y'all have come a very long way, and you should definitely be very proud of yourself for where you are. Now, I think there's something in particular, okay, that's going to occur, that's going to open your eyes up to what it is that you may be gambling or wasting, or some sort of understanding of what's not worth it. What's not worth it? What is worth it? What's not worth it? Do you see how she's planting? You see okay, sorry. Slow down for a second. Do you see how she's planting, she's watering the flowers? If you continue to nourish and water the flowers in the garden, they will continue to grow. You have to continue to take care of it. It could be everlasting. It could last in eternity, which is what this card, infinitely, this is what this card says here. Investing back into yourself, that has the most profound importance in your life, is because the more you invest back into yourself and you're self-aware, and you focus on what's you and what's not you. That card talked about helping others and how that sometimes can affect our own well-being, and knowing like where your boundaries are, and how much you can put on, how much you can take for others when something becomes too much of a burden, if you have your own situation or your own things, or you feel depleted, and being aware of that, and how much that can like affect everything. So learning to water your own garden is something that's really important here, and knowing that you're worth it. And then you have this money that's over here in the bathtub, and it's like, really understanding the fact that material possessions and like money and we can destroy that pretty easily. That's not something that will always be there. Money comes and goes, and it's important, we have to have it. But I think this has more to do with the material aspect of things versus, what's important, what's not important for you to invest into. And this may be on a lot of a bigger scale. So this could be like simply just, material things and those aren't important, and you know you're holding, you're saving and something like that, to wasting time, wasting your energy, you know, because to me, money is a pinnacle. Pentacles in tarot, time, energy, something tangible. So, and then you have this hurricane. I do feel like that there's going to be some kind of big upheaval, but the thing is that I feel like either you're causing it or you're in control of it. Either way. So it may be something that occurs that's out of your hands, but I feel like you do feel in control regardless, because you have this sense of peace. Like, you have this sense of knowing that this is just the way that it's meant to be. And you're not letting your emotions overcome you, or the idea that you're not getting what it is that the value of what you are, you know, or anything like that. And for some of you, I think for some of you, you may be actually, I don't know why this is hard for me to say this. For some of y'all, this might have to do with things like relationships in your life, you know? Whatever you feel like is a debt, or you feel like you're gambling your worth, or you feel like you're wasting your energy and it's not gaining anything or getting anywhere, I think that you are understanding to clear that away, which brings me into hurricane. So again, either you're going through something where there's things being kind of wiped away, but you have this understanding it's what's meant to be, or it's for the best, or it's you actually causing the hurricane and putting up the boundaries I feel like that you need. It's opening up the door to endless possibilities. Okay. I feel like I spent a long time on that. Y'all have, yeah, look at this. It's koi, I think is how you say that. I hope I say that right, because that card came out in another pile. But it talks about good fortune and perseverance and ambition, which it's also like Pisces energy. So it's kind of like you look into it and you think, okay, you know, which I feel like, you know, Pisces energy is very creative, because, you know, it is that dreamy energy, and it's really into the unknown. And I think what we're seeing here is, I think you're walking kind of into the unknown, but you just feel at peace with it. You just feel like there's an order to things, and you're just kind of cooperating and kind of following that order to what you feel like is right for you and your peace. Golly, you guys, I'm really out of breath in y'all's reading. Okay, sorry. Well, I had to pause just for a second. This is the Tarot of the Mystical Peaks, and I'm using this for all the piles because it's a new deck and I'm just obsessed with it. And I thought it would be really great for this reading, so here we are. Okay. So Pisces energy could be important for some of you. Which Pisces seasons February and March, February the 20th to March the 20th. So that might be important too. Something really significant could happen around that time. Although, you know, I feel like tarot kind of goes 6 months, at least, you know, to 6 months out. But we're talking about retrograde and how that's going to affect, you know, you moving forward. So I feel like the overall energy is already telling us that come, you know, in the next several months, let's just say, I think that you're going to see yourself very differently, or be in a completely different space. It may be a very good energy. Okay, so tell me what is cooperation for pile 3? The Fool in reverse. Yeah, that's cooperation. I feel like Aries energy. That's that new beginning. But but you're not naive. You're not naive going into this. You're in a place of acceptance. There's a big difference in, have you ever met somebody and they say, there's one person that says, but what if this happens and what if that happens and what if this and that? Aren't you worried about any of that stuff? And then you're like, no, I just feel like it's just going to happen the way that it's meant to. I've just kind of accepted it for what it is. I feel at peace with it. There's two complete opposite energies there. And this is you on the cooperative side, where you know that this new beginning is coming. You know that it's going to entail some challenges, but you're just ready for it, Now, there is something else here we'll talk about. Tell me about anniversary. Some of y'all could have just had an anniversary, birthday, or an important day. Look at that, 10 of Pentacles in reverse. Some of y'all, there is some sort of foundation that is coming apart. Some sort of foundation is being wiped away. Something that you've been, experiencing for a very long time. With anniversary, though, with the celebration, this is not, you're able to look at it and say, okay, this is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. This is something we're celebrating here. I'm going to look at this like, okay, this is a new beginning. This is something to celebrate. But I do feel like for some of y'all, there's something here that's been very long-standing or long-lasting, that has been something that's been difficult to keep up with, something that's been difficult on you, a burden on you. This is coming to a close. So there's a particular day that this is coming to a close. And I think for some of you, this this could be a relationship. The Ten of Swords and the Knight of Cups just came out when I said that. For some of y'all, this could be a relationship, but I do feel like for some of y'all, this has to do with it could just be something. I'm trying to put this into a different perspective for those of you where this isn't related to love, but I feel like for this to be the Knight of Cups, I feel like, and the way this came out, I feel like for a lot of y'all, this may be. But I also feel like with the Knight of Cups, it has to do with something that you feel very passionate about, or you used to. You used to feel very passionate or very driven or very, you felt a powerful, loving energy towards something at some point. And I feel like there's some sort of ending or closing to this, and it is painful. It's not like it doesn't hurt. It's just that you're in an energy of acceptance, and you've made peace with this decision, which I do feel like that for some of you, this is a decision. I'm actually going to keep this out here. Can y'all see all the cards? Because, yeah, you can. Okay. Right there at the end, huh? Why is worth here? Look at that. Two of Cups. For some of y'all, this is a relationship. Maybe a long-standing, long relationship here that's coming to a close. I feel like for you guys, I don't know what's gone on here. Let me get some different details here of this. For some of you, though, this may not be the relationship as much as some sort of contract that you're closing out. Why is the Fool here in the reverse? The Six of Cups. Every one of these cards is telling me that there is another person here. So, But I want y'all to take this how it resonates. I'm going to refer to this as a relationship because that's just what I'm seeing. But if it could be related to some sort of contract, some sort of foundation that's coming to a close, something that you once really were excited about or really passionate about or loved at some point. And you're learning a big lesson here on not allowing the past to repeat itself. I think one of the things here that are painful is the history that's here. And some memories that are here as well. That Two of Cups in reverse with worth. I mean, I feel like this is you understanding that, you know, you're worth more than what this contract or relationship maybe has to offer, or this is simply something that's not worth it or not going to be successful, or you just don't trust it anymore. You've grown apart from this. You know, there's many different ways of saying this. This could also just be that not allowing this broken relationship or broken contract to affect your worth, because this is part of that lesson that you've already went through. Tell me about that Two of Cups. The Emperor. This could be somebody that you saw as a divine counterpart. This could be somebody that you've been in a long-standing relationship with. This is somebody that could have taught you a very significant and very deep lesson. And this is what it's showing me here. Out of this experience, what it has done is it's taught you what your value and what your worth is, whatever this is. But for some of you, I think this is part of a decision that you're in the process of making. Why is Spendthrift here? The Five of Wands. So this is where you're going into the battle, okay? I do see that here. You're going into this, you're going into this battle. For some of you, I feel like some of y'all may be like deciding to separate from a spouse or a long-term partner. Or this is something that you've done in the past that you're just now kind of reconciling with that decision you made. But I do feel like this is something that it's going to bring conflict. Tell me about the Five of Wands, please. So I feel like, so in all these readings, and I felt this way, and so it makes sense. We're talking about this retrograde, what it's bringing to you, what or who. And for you guys, you're making peace with the decision that you've made, or you've made in the past. And for some reason, it's resurfacing. So it's either in the present or past, but this is the pre-shadow of it. It's kind of like the Fool, you kind of gearing up for this, already kind of coming to terms with this pain here. And then you're going into, you know, actually making that decision. And then here you see the result of it. So, you know, the Five of Wands is like, okay, I'm ready to fight. I just tasted like fresh water, or it tasted like water you would drink from the water hose outside. And if y'all know what that tastes like, it's different. And the Ace of Cups. Somebody here. There's somebody here that's going to try to fight for this. Going to try to fight for this being a waste, or wasting time, or gambling, or whatever that is. It's like somebody's here going to try to fight for this. Tell me about Hurricane. for some of y'all, if this is a separation, like a heavy separation, this could have to do with like fighting over material things. Because, you know, there's still that love that's there. So it's really hard when you separate from a partner because you still care about each other to an extent. And when you start talking about material possessions, you can really go into this Five of Wands, which is like fighting, you know, for whatever, fighting for this or that. And I think, you know, with this love being here, this could be a position where somebody wants to fight for this, but then, you know, is it worth it? Are they wasting their time here trying to fight for this relationship? And I feel like you may have already kind of decided that you could be wasting your time here. Okay. Why is the Hurricane here? Okay. The Wheel of Fortune and the Queen of Wands. See? I feel like you're stepping into your power here. That Wheel of Fortune in reverse is this exactly, this hurricane. It's an unfortunate event. But you see the Queen of Wands, and she is in control. She's confident. And she doesn't need anything around her, you see? She doesn't need anyone to sit there and clap or cheer for her. You know, she's playing the cello there in her house all alone with her cat. She's confident in who she is. She doesn't get her confidence from the outside. She has it inside of her. And so despite this upheaval, despite this unfortunate event or something not working according to plan, there's a fight that's going on here in this. But anyway, we'll get to it. She's still confident, you know, and in control, which I talked about. Now, on the flip side of this, I do feel like that there's someone that's here that is feeling, let's just say this. Let's just say there was a hurricane coming. You knew it was coming, but your neighbor across town did not. And, well, they're not your neighbor if they're across town, huh? Your friend across town did not. You're prepared. I don't know why you wouldn't tell your friend, but anyway, you're prepared. You're ready for the hurricane, which is where you are. You're ready for this. You've already thought about this, deep thought about this. You've made peace with your decision. You've went through the hurt already. You know, you've already understood where you are and how you could be wasting time and what your worth is and what's important to you and just every aspect, right? You're ready for this hurricane. But your friend across the street is not. They're not prepared. They don't have any kind of preparation going on. They have no idea, you know. So when that hurricane comes, you're going to be left within a lot better of position when it's coming towards you and you see it, and after it passes. Why, this other person here, I mean, their stuff's not going to look the same. You know, their whole house may be completely messed up, you know, or whatever the case. So even though you've made sense of something, someone else is just getting this information. So their understanding of it and where their position is a lot different. So I just think that you need to keep that in mind going into this, because I think there's someone here on the flip side of this that is struggling, even if you can't see it, or you can't, or they're not being open with that. But I feel like for a lot of you, they are with this Five of Wands. Can you tell me about this other person that's here with the Five of Wands? Yeah. So Five of Cups in reverse, which is moving forward, moving on, getting over something. So this is someone that it wants to fight for their position. Basically, it's like fighting for, yes, we can get on, we can get past this, we can get over this, you know. It's the Queen of Cups in the reverse. This is like you moving on from something and someone trying to keep you or prevent you from that. Kind of expressing that they can. This is like telling someone you don't feel safe with them anymore, or you don't trust the situation anymore. And this is like someone saying, we can get that back. We can get back to that place. Because there is still love here. There's something else that's here I have to mention. Some of y'all, there may be somebody that's here that you still struggle, or you still have a hard time completely moving past or getting over. That's not everybody's message. I don't know if I needed to say that. Why is the Wheel of Fortune in reverse? That High Priestess in reverse. Pisces energy. It's that Pisces energy. Why is that High Priestess in reverse? Can I give just one for that, please? The Ace of Wands. I mean, you're definitely moving into a new direction. And again, not knowing exactly where it's taking you, but you're ready for it. You know what's crazy about this is that the passion that maybe you are missing, if this was a relationship, the passion that you were missing in that is something that's you're going to see within that other person, but it's coming at a time when it's already lost. Do you know what I mean? It's like you don't see like how someone really sees you or cares about you or the passion they feel for you until you've already moved on from them. You know, you've already accepted things and found peace with it and moved on. And then now you see this person in a certain way, and it's like, well, you know, I'm already in a different place. It was like too late, you know, for you. Well, some of you, this is also, remember, there's somebody else that's here. Cancer energy's here, by the way. I don't know if I said that. And Sagittarius and Pisces. For some of y'all, though, this is someone that still wants another chance or still wants to start again. There is this energy here of the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, which can look like second chances. Someone that's trying to prevent or keep this hurricane from existing. Okay. Now, for others of you, I want to say if this isn't a relationship, then this is having to move on from something again that you felt very strongly for or about. Because even though you really loved it, maybe you didn't have what you needed there, and that was like you're understanding that reality of that. Like maybe you didn't have what you needed in order to keep what that was, or in order to maintain investing in something, you know. And even though it may feel like a waste, you're just kind of in this energy of acceptance and moving on from that, knowing that, you know, in the future you do have this new beginning, and seeing it again as a new beginning and not seeing it as just a loss. Okay. I wonder if I should get anything else for this person that's over here. What's going to happen with this other person that's here? What's going to happen with this other person? What's going to happen with this other person that's over here? Oh, it's the devil. What about the devil? The Four of Pentacles. If there's another person here, I don't feel like they're fixing to have to face some shadows. So there's this feeling of feeling very insecure, or this is going to make this person really face some shadow stuff. If this is just you, then this is, I feel like, you facing again those shadows like dead on. If this is another person, can you tell me more about what's going to happen to this person? This is someone that will become very closed off or very guarded after this occurs. Yeah, the Three of Wands in reverse. This is someone that there's disappointment here. There may be some indulging here even, I have to say, with that devil coming out. That can be many, 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 many things. But they're not good. It's the devil. So, put that into perspective. It's like when you go through something significant and you don't want to experience the hurt or the pain from that, or you can't have what you want, and you fall into like bad habits, or you fall into like obsessive energy, or a lot of anxiety over that, or whatever that is, and you just put your guard up and you just want to be left alone, that kind of feeling, or you become very bitter even, but that Three of Wands in reverse is like having to go back to figuring things out, having to go back to the drawing board, having to go back to the plan, back on the plan, and come up with a new plan. And that's frustrating here for this person. There's a very kind of upset energy with them. The Seven of Cups in the reverse, because I don't feel like there's anything else out there that they're interested in or that they want. They're very overwhelmed by having to make certain choices. The Hermit, which is good that we're seeing the Hermit now, because that means it causes them to go into the shadow. It causes them to go into that deep introspection to figure things out. Yeah, anytime we lose something significant in our lives that we really saw as a fortunate thing at some point, it really should put us into a place eventually to where we're doing that deep introspection of, okay, why was this taken away from me? Or why did I lose this? Or why did this have to happen? So that we can understand ourselves and our patterns and our experiences and learn what we need from that. And this person does do that. I think it just takes some time, because they work through, upset. Yeah, the Moon in reverse. There's the shadow right there. The Moon in reverse. They will come out of this, though. Pisces, Cancer energy, and Virgo here. They will go through that Hermit. They may go through a little bit of a disruptive phase, but I think they're going to go through that Hermit phase eventually, and then they'll go to be on the other side of that Moon, which is understanding themselves. And if they've created any kind of illusion in their life or in their world, it's understanding that they've been kind of in that phase, and they also come out of that. It's like they kind of find themselves, and then they start putting themselves back together here with the Tower in reverse, Scorpio energy. So that's a good thing to see. And maybe some of y'all need to know that, if this is someone else. Now, if this is your energy, this would be you. Going through this. And I think that the devil in your energy, if this is you, is understanding, how to, with that Four of Pentacles, where to put your boundaries up when it comes to yourself and your own emotions, like we talked about in the very beginning with this card. remembering this energy here of acceptance. Because like I said, it's something that you have to like keep reminding yourself of. Okay, we have judgment, very appropriate at the bottom of the deck, Scorpio energy. So making that judgment call, you know. We have the sun there, love to see that. And the Three of Pentacles in reverse. Some of y'all are breaking a commitment. These look like mints that I always keep in my purse. Like fresh breath, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, some of y'all are choosing, you have clarity, you have understanding of that something's not going to work out, you know. And I think that you're breaking that commitment and you're making that judgment call there. Oh boy, okay. All right, let's see what the future holds for you guys after this retrograde is up. Which I don't have my notes on me right now. Oh, good grief, my phone is blowing up too. Let's see here. I think in August, if I remember right. Oh gosh, guys, I can't bring it up. Okay. Anyways, in August, towards I think it's the 17th or 18th. But I talk about it in the beginning in the intro. That's when it's going to be over. And I think after that is when you'll see this next part that we're fixing to get into. So tell me about, after this retrograde, the future energies. What can pile 3 expect? Repetitive cycle. Uncertainty. There's 2 different kind of storylines that have been here anyway, and you have interference here. Okay, so if this is someone that you're dealing with here, I love this card. Just wasn't expecting to see that right there. Suspicious is underneath that, and self-love is needed. There is someone here that's going to go through a period of just stuff. Okay, if this is somebody you're dealing with, they're just going through it. And as they're going through it, I feel like what they're needing is self-love. But they may kind of be projecting things onto you. So if they are suspicious about anything, you know, where, you know, maybe they start to think that you're not doing what you need for yourself here. You're doing it because of other reasons. You know, their mind just kind of spirals in this anxious energy into that. Then this is something that I feel like that maybe become like, it may be repetitive, like this may be something that you have to deal with for a time being until they go into that hermit energy finally, because I feel like this is someone else here that is falling into that cycle of uncertainty, and it's interfering perhaps with your future energies. Now if this is that's interesting, because in that card also we talked about empathy and being empathic and taking on others' energies and stuff. So you may be feeling like you're taking on this person's energy here, and it may feel somewhat uncertain at times, or like it's just interfering with, you know, your future in some kind of way. So just be really aware of that, and you know, do that sacral chakra reset, you know, if you need to. Now, the other thing is if this has to do with just you, I do feel like that you may go through a period of where you feel like you're stuck in a cycle or a repetitive cycle of uncertainty, of the unknown. So it's almost like, okay, you're in this peaceful place. This is going to sound so bad. Just realized. And you're in this peaceful place, and you're in this place of acceptance and allowing things to kind of unfold. Doesn't mean that you're always going to be there. It's a constant reminder and reminding yourself, remember? So I do feel like that you may experience some repetitive kind of nature where you're having to reassure yourself, you're having to continually tell yourself, you know, it's okay. I accept where I'm at. I accept this, what I'm experiencing. It's teaching you something. You're learning, you're training yourself. That's what this is. Don't see this repetitive, whatever this is. You know, you could just be frustrated because something's not working out for you, but it's like, keep trying. You know, you're training yourself to stay calm. You're training yourself to stay cooperative, to be in this peaceful place of harmony. You're training yourself. Okay, so keep going for it. You're going to fall into a place of uncertainty sometimes, regardless if you're taking off into a brand new direction. If you're taking off into this clean slate, into a brand new direction, yeah, you're gonna find this sense of uncertainty from time to time. But don't let this interfere with keep going. Don't let this interfere with you keep going. I'm trying to find a better way to say that, but I mean, what's our time here? We have, what does it say? Oh yeah, y'all have had a long reading. This was a long one. All these were kind of long. Don't worry, I'm going to do a short reading too to make up for the long one. I'm going to try to do short and a long, a short and a long, because I know some of y'all asked for those, but you want the long one still. Some of y'all do, so. Okay, can you give me a little bit of more, like the background about the future energies for pile 3? Repetitive cycles. Yeah, regret. And this is the number 20. So you may kind of go back in your head sometimes about the decision that you made, and that's only going to be like, that is a natural thing to like have to reassure yourself that you made the right decision. That's something that's going to come up, especially if you have someone else that's here that you still love, you still care about, you're worried about. Okay, so forgive yourself for that. That's gonna, again, training your thoughts, training your mind. Uncertainty. Friendship. So this talks about connections, and it may make you feel a little uncertain about certain connections in your life. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about that because I don't know everybody's situation, but just let's say you may see some changes in the connections and relationships or connection in your life, that the relationship itself may be evolving or changing into something different, and it's a place of uncertainty of whether or not you're going to always have that friendship there, or if it's something that you can maintain or not, or who's attached to this person that you were once, in contact with, and just, how that kind of trickle effects around other connections in your life. This is something that this uncertainty may bring up some uncertainty for some time. What about interference? Romance. This may have to do with gossip, okay? Like someone moving on or someone distancing themselves, and this interference and it just may be you in your head. But these birds on the wire always remind me of gossip. Sorry about that, guys. That's my Walmart order at the door. That just made me think of something, though. You may have other people coming to you, telling you things with this romance. Sorry. And this is something that again, I don't feel like that you're going to go into the future and everything's just going to be rainbows and sunshine. I think that I'm sorry I can't be that reader to just fill you up full of butterflies and stuff, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. It does get easier, but it's not like you go out of this and everything's just perfect. You're going to go through some feelings. It's just like let's just say when you get divorced and you make that decision, that's just not the end of it. And then you close that chapter and then everything's better. Not at all. I wish it was, but it does not work like that. You go through like periods of, did I make the right decision? Did I make the right decision? And then the relationship changes and evolves in a different way. And it leaves other relationships uncertain, and then you go into this place of interference with other connections or other gossip or people talking about, romance and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, And look at the bottom of the deck, it says confusion, number 21. So it leaves you in a place of confusion, you know. So yeah, it's something that you're going to experience, and just, it's, again, you training your mind, training your brain, training your mind. What's important? What's important? I just looked over at my neighbor's tree, and I think there's a tarantula on his, that is a tarantula. I don't think I've seen one over here yet. I used to see them at my house all the time out in the woods, but not here in town. Huh. Tarantulas do have a spiritual meaning. What are they? Hey Siri, what is the spiritual meaning of a tarantula? No. The spiritual meaning of a tarantula. Thank you. No. She's not getting it, guys. She's not getting it. Shocker. Spiritual meaning of a tarantula. I mean, y'all could probably do this yourself, but I'm curious. It says, a tarantula spirit told him in dreams often resembles intuition, patience, and the need to prioritize one's deeper purpose. It can also represent positive changes. Okay, so yeah, there you go. Let's see what card y'all have for Affirmator. Oop, that came right out. Beauty. I'm beautiful even when I don't think it. I'm beautiful even when I don't see it. I'm beautiful no matter how many people don't say it. I'm beautiful, and I don't care if you know it. I'm beautiful, which is why I don't have to try so hard all the time to show it. Yeah, I really feel like a lot of y'all went through some sort of worth lesson in this whole situation with someone. Your value. Okay. Can I have one message for pile 3, please? Okay. Number 23, which is 5, which is change. Thought vibrations. Resonant choices, signature signals. I read about this card once, and I was trying to remember what it said in my head, but again, there's this idea of, you know, positive changes in thinking and teaching yourself about your thoughts and your you know, the signals that you're putting out there, is definitely as far as manifestation and stuff goes in your way of thinking, because you are going into a new beginning, you know. Okay, so let's get one overall card, and then we will get some initials closed. Y'all had a long one. Shocker. Okay. Leave them with the overall message, please. Okay, y'all have two. Well, if you keep kind of going over and over your head about this decision that you made, it says 38. Yes, you are correct. You have listened to your inner guidance and made a wise choice. Keep moving forward. This is about choices too. 44. You will manifest what you need. Express gratitude. You know, some of y'all may be getting a package here, or a gift. Express gratitude as if the plans have already come to pass. Trust that your angels are bringing you assistance, bringing you the assistance that you need. So if you've been in a place to where you're kind of needing that assistance, make sure that you're, you know, putting that out there of what it is that you actually need, manifesting that into play, because you are in a very high vibrational energy for putting that manifestation out there. But you have to make sure that you're doing it. You know, be thoughtful too with your meditations. I'm real big about meditation. I don't always do it like I should, because life gets kind of carried away with me. But it's important, you know, and you can call that whatever you want. Let's just say prayer, okay? Prayer, meditation, moment of silence. may not be a moment of silence. Maybe you're just listening to a certain type of music, or, you know, whatever the case, just to get out of your head and into your, you know, kind of more into your, where your subconscious is. And there's a lot of answers in there. But it helps you to get more in tune and connected to your higher self and to, you know, the higher source. And it's just really important. It's where you can manifest, put out there what it is that you really desire or want. So this lime always reminds me of bittersweet. And I do feel like this is a situation that you may feel that way because of the hurricane. Even though there's something here that could be an upheaval or destructive, there's still, like, the fact that you've made peace with it and that you're in this acceptance energy is good. You know, it is that you've reached that point. So it's bittersweet. If you never try, you never know. So there may be something different or new that you may be wanting to try or move into. Be kind. We have W, N, C, D, G, G, and G. So G is in the bowl. If somebody needed some G's there, that's pretty significant. I heard a dog, so maybe like getting a pet, or maybe you're going to get a pet soon or something like that. Maybe that's important. Maybe somebody needs a pet, especially if you're, you know, if you had a companion for a long time and you're separating from that and leaving and being on your own. I would, if you have the resources to take care of a pet, I would definitely recommend one, because yeah, they're like the angels, you know, that help us through things. We love on them, and they'll be loyal and faithful to us forever and ever. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for being here. I hope this helps. This was a heavy one. I'm sorry that this was so long. Hopefully it resonated. Hopefully it does help you guys to move forward, and good luck with this. And I hope to see you soon. Bye. Hey, Pile 4. So, Pile 4, I'm excited for your reading, because I love this card. When it came out, I was excited to see the bird. I'm pretty sure that is a sparrow, but, you know, it's a representation to me of freedom. So, in the way that she's like swinging here, which it does say surrender, trust your higher self. So we're talking about what or who is coming around here when it comes to this retrograde. So what can you really expect as far as this Mercury retrograde goes? And I feel like for you guys, you may be kind of, I want to say, surrendering to the sense of overall freedom. Like, she's such in a carefree energy. And so I feel like that with this surrender comes this kind of trusting in your higher self, kind of being more playful, more fun, more carefree, which is also exciting to do. You know, hopefully this is what, and my voice is going to be cracking here and then. I don't know why. I just started that. So sorry. Sometimes that happens, especially when I'm reading about Mercury retrograde. So bear with me. Okay, so we're going to pull some of the answer oracles to get started. And what we're looking at here is, what is this, you know, retrograde bringing to you? So I'll say whatever I see that comes out. And then also you'll notice in the cards, we'll talk about really where the pre-shadow of it is going into the storm. And then we'll get some different oracles after the tarot to see what the future holds. Okay, so the post position of the retrograde. Okay, so if you didn't listen to my intro where I talk about retrograde, and you're not fully familiar with it, you may go back and listen to that. It's in the description box and the timestamps where I kind of describe what this one is and all the different timelines of it. Okay, so what can Pile 4 expect What can pile 4 expect in this retrograde? What or who? So y'all have peace. What can pile 4 okay. Y'all have empty and fusion. You have chat here. Oh, that was weird. So father landed like this, and then these two came out together, which is trust and passion. That's interesting. Here's a little side message here. I'm gonna go into that, and then I'm gonna put these back, and then we're gonna pull one card, okay? The side message here is some of y'all, you may be in a place to where you're trying to trust something that you're interested in. This also could have to do with a father figure, or something about a father is important, or just taking the lead on something. But this, I feel like, is either you're wanting support from someone on a hobby or an interest that you may have, or this is about, you know, supporting yourself or having, either getting respect or having respect for whatever this passion is that you have. The way this cat is pointing. In the trust, it really reminds me of that movie. What is the name of that movie? But anyways, he talks about the circle of trust, if you're in the circle or you're out of the circle of trust. And his cat, Jinxie, you know, is like his baby in that movie. And it's just kind of reminds me of that, the way that the cat is with that guy. Anyway, that might mean something to somebody. I don't know. But there's something to do here, a side message as far as taking leadership or taking control over, you know, what it is that you want to do, and someone else may have some kind of an influence on that in some kind of way, and not allowing that to interfere, you know. Okay. So can I have one more for this retrograde, what it's bringing to pile 4? What or who? Love. Okay, good news, guys. Y'all have a good reading here. This is a good retrograde for you guys. You know, just because we get all up in our head and everything and talk a lot about retrograde and all the stuff it brings back doesn't mean that it's going to bring you necessarily anything negative. It can for others, but it depends on where you are on your journey, where you are in life. And I feel like y'all are in a good place anyways. I feel like that y'all are in this peaceful energy, where you've kind of emptied yourself here. You're in this surrender, this freedom kind of feeling, to where you've purified yourself, and now you're opening up to something new. And I feel like for some of you, this may have to do with love. But this could just have to do with, you know, trusting yourself, because this says trust and respect here as well. This exchange of information here. So there's 2 different storylines I'm getting, and it depends on what you're wanting, okay? Because I do feel like that this is going into a place of, yeah, the bottom of the deck is follow, which is about following instructions, or, you know, really just following that destiny or that star. But some of y'all are in a place to where that you're not really necessarily looking for love. You're just, you know, looking for something that you want to do, or moving in a direction that you feel like that you could appreciate for yourself. But for others of you, you may be looking for love. And I do feel like it doesn't matter. I feel like you're going to get to that place. There's something to do here with the conversation, exchanging information. So I'm curious if that fatherly type of energy will come out again. That can be like a mentor even. Okay. I feel like you're going to have a shorter reading than the others. Now, shorter readings isn't a bad thing. You know, shorter readings are actually a really good thing, because that means there's not a lot to really go over, because you're in a good position. Now, that's funny with tarot, because a lot of people look into tarot for all kinds of different reasons, right? But most of the time, it's because there's struggles there, which is so funny because you always get comments, all the readers do, about negative readings. And it's like, well, tarot is about self-care and self-reflection, self-awareness. And those are the things, it's pointing out things that are difficult to look at, difficult to acknowledge and see. And those sometimes can be more negative type of readings, you know. I do have good readings every now and then. A lot of readers say, you know, but if you ever see, like, listen to a reader and they're saying something that is really good coming through, and how excited we get to see that. You can tell, you know, how that plays out in readings, but these are meant to be helpful messages. Okay, so let's see where y'all are with peace and order. Order is what's standing out to me most there. Okay, you have the Three of Wands that just flew out of the deck. So definitely this is a new beginning. You know, you've already kind of set your sails here. You're in a position to where you know what you want. You know what you want to do. You're ready. You're ready for it. Why is empty here? You have the Hanged Man. I do feel like I want to say, I know that I feel like a lot of y'all have overcame a lot of challenges, and I don't want that to go unseen, but I just feel like it's just behind you now, you know, and you're looking forward, and you're ready to bring order to your life. You're ready to bring peace and harmony to your life. And this Hanged Man energy here is Pisces energy. With that emptiness that's there, it's like you're seeing the fact of being free or being empty or surrendering to this independence, if you will, where you're doing something on your own. You're seeing this as where maybe at once you saw this as scary, or like there's insecurities that are there, or you're worried about this. You're confident now, you know. You're trusting your higher self, and there's a lot to do with trusting yourself that's here. Following that star, you know, following, instigating your own reality, you know, trusting in yourself enough to where you have faith in where you are. And I think that it's been something that's been challenging and difficult, but you've been able to look at this emptiness as an opportunity. Okay, and it's interesting too that we have swings here, and then she's on the same type of swing. So like a rope swing may be important for somebody, but it's not being focused on one particular thing, but kind of allowing yourself to explore or to kind of be open to, you know, opportunities. As fusion here, the Sun in reverse. It's Leo energy. So fusion with openness here, to me, because you have this idea of, which I've seen this card a lot in these readings, but you have this idea of cooperation and openness and alignment and harmonize. So with the Sun, I mean, that would be all of that. But in reverse, to me, it's basically the ultimate way of like trusting the situation is looking at it and saying, you know, I can't see things clearly here, but I'm open to whatever unfolds. It's also understanding that there's going to be disappointments, you know, along the way. Why is chat here? This is what I really want to look at. Why is chat here? It's a juicier part of your reading here. It's this chat energy. Yeah, the Four of Pentacles in reverse is letting your guard down here, I feel. I'm going to go ahead and get some clarifiers, though. Yeah, you have the Magician there. So you definitely are manifesting this love energy in, whatever that is for you guys. That stuff is blowing right in my face. Why is the Three of Wands here? You have the Nine of Pentacles. I didn't even say it, but this is a brand new deck. It's called the Tarot of the Mystical Peaks. And right now it's my favorite, and I'm using it for every pile. Okay, so the Nine of Pentacles, that's awesome. because look at, she's even holding the bird. This is a card of independence. It's understanding that you're doing something on your own, but feeling confident, feeling like you have, everything together. You're satisfied with where you are. You're happy with where you are. But you're in that 301, so you're still like, you feel good and you're looking forward to what the future has, You have the Two of Pentacles here. So some of you may have options with this Hanged Man energy. Some of you may have options here with whatever this is. Is that Tony Hawk in that card? Anyway, you may have options here with whatever this is, in this place of feeling like, also that cruise ship in the background might mean something to somebody. Anyway, yeah, I think you may get overwhelmed somewhat with the opportunities or options that you have. Like, I could do this, or I could do that, or what could this could go this way, or this could go that way. But particularly, I feel like you have two different opportunities at hand as far as starting over goes. And I think that you're kind of stuck here on this idea of those two opportunities. So if you're not there yet, you may be having two different opportunities where you could do this thing, or you could do that thing, or it could be this person, or it could be that person. It just depends on what this means for you guys. Why is the Sun in reverse? Death. This is really significant here with this death, this Scorpio energy, because it's showing that you're disappointed, and perhaps it's like saying, well, with fusion here anyways, it's like saying, I know something has to come to an end, or I know that with every ending there's a new beginning. And it's like having this clear understanding that you don't know you don't know what's going to happen, and you're disappointed with maybe perhaps how something went, but you're still open to the future and understanding that whatever that looks like is probably what is, like, you still feel in alignment with where you are. And I think that that's really important, is you still feel like you're in the position that you're supposed to be in. Wherever you are, you're meant to be where you are. And having that understanding here is really important. It's part of the changes that you've gone through, the challenges that you've overcome. And knowing that, there's also probably going to be some disappointments along the way. But, you're kind of in search of your happiness here, and what that is and what that's going to be. Why is that Four of Pentacles in the reverse with that chat? The King of Pentacles. So I do feel like that fatherly energy is coming in again. Doesn't mean that it has to be a father. It's just like an authority figure, a mentor, someone that you've known for a really long time, someone that you look up to. This could be anybody in your life, or maybe not actually in your life, but somebody that you just look up to in some way, someone that you can idealize, or this is someone that you want to be. This is someone that's very stable and secure within their self. That trusting energy is here as well, someone you can trust. So maybe exchanging some information here with someone that you trust is important. Letting your guard down. Some of you, if this is like someone new that's coming into play, this could be like letting your guard down because you see this person as a potential, like you see them as a potential long-term commitment, or someone that could be very profound in your life in some way. And especially if this is pertaining to love, but you do kind of let your guard down to disclose some information, or to exchange information. You're looking at this. You're really taking a good look at this. Why is Capricorn energies there? Gemini, Virgo, Magician. The Two of Wands. So this is making plans. And the Magician is here as well. So this is really like significant in making plans. So if this is someone new, this is most definitely you, or maybe it's not someone new, but either way, it's like you're letting your guard down, you're exchanging information, you're opening up, you trust yourself, you trust someone else, and you're being vulnerable, really. And here I feel like that you are in this place to where, okay, now you're at a crossroads and you need to decide what it is that you really want moving forward. And there's a bunch of decisions I feel like that you're going to be moving into. This is your first one here with deciding what option you want to take. And then you go into actually making plans, and what does that look like? Let's get some clarifiers for that. Two of Pentacles, please. The Six of Cups. So this may have to do with a soulmate energy. This can also be like, I mean, I feel like for some of you, if this is love, this is definitely making a choice between when it comes to a relationship. But I feel like for some of you, this empty energy may be also something that's allowing you, especially if you're coming from this Nine of Pentacles, where you feel very, you feel very good and confident and at peace with where you are. You have more time, you have more capability of being able to prioritize people that you care about with that Six of Cups. You're having to look at the flip side of something. Okay, now I'm following the direction that I'm being called. I feel at peace with where I'm at. This could also look like traveling here as well. But I have what I need in order to, go in that direction that I want, take off in those adventures or whatever I need. And then prioritizing also other areas in your life, so other people in your life. The Six of Cups can also be children. Making time for that, or making that a priority as well. Because the Two of Pentacles is like when you're juggling, you have things that are both valuable and important to you. On one hand, let's just say you have, things that you need, but then you have also the things that you want. And you have to kind of juggle those two things. Okay, I need this and I need that, and then other people need this and that, but then I also want to do this and I want to do that, and then finding that balance. Okay, why is Death here? I mean, I don't know necessarily I need to look at Death, because I think you already kind of have that figured out. That's why it is Death, because whatever it was that needed to change did. Even if it was something that was disappointment, I feel like you've overcome it, so you're opening up to something else. So tell me more about this King of Pentacles. And this could be your energy still, this King of Pentacles, with that Four of Pentacles. But what does this have to do with this chat? Tell me more about this. The Star in reverse. So this is really like taking a deeper look at what it is that you really desire. Exploring that. This can also look like not putting any kind of expectations here. So being in a place to where with this information exchange is like you're having this conversation, but you don't have any expectations out of it. So let's just say this is someone new that you see as potential, but you're not putting any kind of crazy expectations on this. You're in a more laid back energy. You're in a more open energy of being able to be vulnerable and let your guard down, but you're not like, seeing this as the end all be all or whatever, to where you're putting some kind of crazy expectations around this whole person or the idea of how you see yourself. It's like, if this is you, like you're stepping, you're giving yourself a break, And you're open to other perspectives or point of view as well. And I think that that's important. But, if you're just kind of inquiring here about yourself, it's like you're giving yourself kind of a break from holding such high expectations over yourself. You're like just kind of allowing things to unfold more or in an organic way. Whereas before, you held yourself in such a higher regard that that in itself became a burden for you. And I think that you're allowing yourself to be more in this fun, playful energy where it's like, I need to, stop being so hard on myself and kind of give myself a break here. If this is someone else, it's like you're not, like I said, putting any kind of crazy expectations out there. You're just in this energy here where you're vulnerable, you're exchanging, you're having this conversation, but, you're not overly fantasizing about what your reality could be. It's more of a being practical. So which may have been something of a lesson that you went through. Why is the Aquarius energies there too? The Magician and the Two of Wands with love. So there's a lot to do with travel here. For some reason, I just looked over and I saw this. The Time Traveler's Oracles. So there's something to do with traveling here. I see it here too with that Nine of Pentacles. Tell me about the Magician and the Two of Wands, please. You have a Knight of Cups in the reverse. Yeah, some of y'all, you may not be like really focused on love. You're more so focused on yourself and trusting yourself. But others of you, if this is something that you want, it is here for those of you that have been kind of manifesting this opportunity for love. And, you may have some choices or some options here with this Two of Wands of whether or not you want to go after one person or another, or if you have those options there, or if this is like, should I invest in my love life at this time, or should I just continue to invest in myself? This is more of a laid back, freer way of looking at it. It's kind of like, well, if that comes along, then it's there for me. But if it doesn't, then I'm fine on my own. It's that kind of feeling, which I feel like is good because it's where you're trusting your higher self. You're listening to yourself. And it's kind of like saying, if someone's not there for me to love, then I'll just love myself. If someone pops up and they're there for me to love, then I can be open to that exchange as well. But I also know how to not put any high expectations on that because I'm also fine on my own. So it's just a really like good place to be in. It's very comforting and it's very peaceful. I like it. This is the surrender that I'm feeling. Like this is the surrender, is you're just kind of allowing. You're allowing the universe to bring you not only what you manifest or what you want, or if it shows up, it does. If it doesn't, I'm still fine. You're just kind of in that kind of a place, which is awesome to see the Four of Wands at the bottom of the deck. That's so cool. So the Four of Wands, if you don't know, is peace and harmony. It's finding balance within yourself, finding balance here. There is something here about a father figure. I can't get over that. There's something here. This isn't going to resonate for everybody, okay? But there is something here about that being some sort of an impression on you in some kind of way, especially when it comes to exchanging information and maybe not living up to certain expectations. And that's something that I feel like for some of you may be releasing or letting go of. And that might have been part of like what you've healed from, your healing cycle there. Let's see what the future holds, because since you are in such a opened energy, the Four of Wands in the world is there too with the Three of Swords. So there it is, in Justice with the Four of Cups. So becoming self-aware of something that is or isn't in balance, or isn't meant for you, and justice taking place. So justice was served here at some point, which did bring in this Three of Swords, which is separation, sadness, loneliness, all that kind of stuff, pain, hurt, whatever you went through here, where justice had to play out. It's understanding, okay, that was meant to happen in that way. That was what was fair. That was what was meant to be. Even though it doesn't make it any less painful, but it's just having that sense of understanding. And then the World here, so something coming to a close, a chapter closing out so that you can have a new chapter begin, and you've made peace with this here with this Four of Wands. So if you're not there yet, we are talking about what retrograde is bringing in. So if you are in this place here where you're just starting to get the first glimpses of this feeling of being at peace, opening yourself up, understanding that you have everything that you need, and you're happy with that, then this is what is to follow, okay? So let's see what the future of this holds, which would be post-shadow, which I lost my notes. But if I can remember right, and I say it too in the first part of the reading, but in the intro, I think it's August. I think it's around August the 17th or 18th when this occurs, or when we're in that post timeline. But let's see, what will happen in the future from this? Celebration is here. What will happen in the future from this? I'll pull two cards. I pulled home and generosity. So far so good, right? I just want to stop right there. Bottom of the deck says mending. And you have travel. I told you. Freedom. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. And broken is under that. So yeah, you coming from a place of being broken, perhaps maybe with this memories, that Six of Cups, there's an idea of memories that, missing some good memories that you have of the past, and feeling the loss of that, the brokenness of that. But also being in a place where you have your own freedom. That was also something that's important here, and trusting in your higher self and trusting in that. Freedom to travel, freedom to explore, freedom to you kind of close a chapter out, do what it is that you feel like is right or right for you. If you're someone that is not single and you have a family, this could also look like, or maybe you are single but you still have family. I mean, whatever the case may be, this can look a lot like what this Nine of Pentacles is, having what it is that you need, having the resources that you need in order to be able to bring that peaceful energy, and being able to kind of prioritize others, or take the time that you need to have these memories here with that Six of Cups. And this could look like travel. This could look like breaking yourself free so that you have that ability to do so. And then you have mending here as well. So that in itself is healing, right? This journey that you're fixing to go on here, because we're talking about future energies, is going to be healing in itself. There may also be a soulmate energy here that brings, where this also brings in some healing energy. When we find peace within ourselves and our lives, that's going to have that ripple effect with other relationships in our life. And if you have relationships in your life that are rocky or broken, and you're in a very good place to where you trust yourself, you're not focused on your insecurities, you're not focused on what you've been done wrong, or you feel at peace. It takes a long time, and it's really hard to get there, and we're not going to stay there forever, but because life happens. But enjoy it while you can, that kind of feeling. But when you get into that place of solitude, or you get into that place of just that peaceful, harmonious feeling where you feel like, you know, I may not have everything that I want, but I definitely have everything that I need, and I'm happy with that. That can really help mend other areas in your life that are broken, because there's this energy of acceptance and appreciation and, you know, feeling the love, you know. But there's something to do in the future here with celebration. So, like, celebration and the 401s are also very similar in their meanings. It's like being very thankful and grateful and coming together and having something to celebrate. And then you have home and generosity. So I do feel like that for some of you, this has to do with something that's very important to you, very close to your heart with home, and feeling very generous around, you know, family, friends, your home, like being able to give of yourself in the best way possible because you're in such a good place. So this is what you're going to feel like in the future, and it's going to be mending. It's going to be healing. Okay. Like I said, I told y'all were going to have a shorter reading than the others. Some of them were like an hour. So let's see if we can get some affirmators. I'll get y'all some extra cards to close out because y'all's reading was so short. I might get y'all some question cards. Let's do that. Questions you should ask yourself moving into the future. Can we have an affirmator here for pile 4, please? Oh, yay. One of the other piles got this too. So it says power. I am strong. I am grounded. I am powerful. I am like a cross between a dinosaur and a tank, but not a tank that's used for war. I'm like a peaceful, loving dino tank who feels so strong it doesn't need to do anything but be. And then let's get you one of these. See, that's the way I feel like y'all feel. You know, that tank has a heart and a flower and peace symbols all over it. So I come in peace, you know. That's where your power lies, is that first card out, you know, peace. Okay. What questions should pile 4 be asking themselves here? I was fixing to say maybe nothing. What if everything is as it should be? How would that make me feel? Well, that's a good question. But, you know, that's what I talked about already with you. You know, you're looking towards the future here. You're looking towards what it is that you want. There's a lot of future energy here. I think maybe this is a reminder to also stay in the present. So if everything is as it should be, if you are where you're supposed to be in this present moment right now, then how would that make you feel? You know, what if this is it? Like, how would that make you feel? And I'm not saying you can't, like, dream about future. Of course, you're going to want to plan for the future. But it's just also very important to acknowledge where you are. And, you know, it's like, I'm trying to put this in a perspective of, it's like, let's just say you trained for a race, and you trained and you trained, and you just realized that my son is outside. He's being goofy. Anyway, sorry. Let's just say you trained and trained for a marathon, and you finally got done with the marathon, and you did so good, and you know, you placed and everything, and you're proud of yourself where you are. Imagine being over as soon as you're done with it, without even celebrating. You're like, okay, on to the next marathon. Now I got to go on to the next one. And it's like, can we just celebrate the fact that you've gotten where you are? Like, can we just stop for a second and smell the roses? And I think that's kind of what they're saying here. With all this pink energy, you know, it's like, stop for a second and, like, nourish yourself. Like, realize how far you've come and just kind of take a second to smell the roses here. Okay, so we're going to get I'm going to get one of these and another card. And I think I might get a spirit message card for y'all since we have extra time here. And that flew right out of the deck and right onto the floor. And it's number 5. And it's wisdom of the magi, mental clarity. So this always reminds me of coming to America. I don't know why, it just does. But understanding, even if you have like mental clarity about where you are, the really wisdom behind that is knowing that you don't know everything, about what the possibilities could be. So even if you feel like you have everything figured out and like you're making plans, always make sure you make room for the unexpected, because the universe is constantly throwing surprises our way. So yeah, okay. What do you have for pile 4? We have number 40. You're ready for more. Your career is growing and blossoming. Now is a time to make changes that you have been contemplating. So, kind of like fits with what we just said, but the bottom of the deck says, number 1, all in perfect timing. This is it. It's time to take action now. I will be here for you to help you every step of the way. So, don't forget, with all of this timing and it's it and this is going to happen and everything else, and get ready for more and all this kind of stuff. Again, don't forget to stay in this present moment. Yes, make plans. Yes, that all is gonna come to pass. But and this is here, like, you're ready for more, you're meant for more, you're made for more. But I think that this is kind of saying here is that I think what this is getting at, I feel like there's going to be something here that happens or occurs that we're just not meant to know about yet in this reading. And it may come as somewhat as a surprise. So it's kind of like the universe joking, or God, or whoever it is, that higher source that you see. It's kind of like it looking at you and saying, go ahead and make those plans. But nothing's going to be able to prepare you for what we have in store for you. There's something here that's going to be a huge curveball, I feel like, for you guys, that will bring in a lot of emotional fulfillment. And with this, you're ready for more. It's like kind of like the universe saying, we see you, and we understand that you're ready for more, and we're going to bring that to you. But we want you to stay in the present moment, because in the present moment is really important, especially when it comes to mending, especially when it comes to taking care of yourself and enjoying the loved ones that you have around you. Okay, so let's get a postcard from Spirit.
Hey, man.
Hey, I'm almost done, okay?
Oh. I was going to ask if I can go in the pool.
Yeah, go ahead. But go the other way.
Well, I need the swimming pants. Do you know where some is?
There's some either in your drawer, or you can, I think there's some in your drawer. Did you look?
Yeah, I looked.
See that basket right beside you?
Yeah.
You can look in that. I think there may be some in there. Sorry, guys. Okay. What do you... It just hit me in the face. It says... Oh, it actually... You aren't going to believe this, but it turned my flashlight on in my phone that's next to me. Somehow. I don't even know how that happened. I guess maybe I touched it. I mean, I don't know. I guess I had to, but I don't know. I turned my flashlight on. So... Shining light on something. Let's see what this card says. You are magic. Dearest you. We know everything in the universe is perfect, even in its flaws, and we view the creations of Spirit in total awe. All is unique, yet part of a unity of existence. But the human experience is a little different from yours. I can't read this right. The human experience is a little different from ours. You tend to have a specific, golly, standard for what you consider ideal. And this isn't serving you right now. This is what I was trying to talk about over here. Because I honestly feel like that there's something here that's way outside of what you can imagine or where you're even thinking. So forget your idea of perfection and see through our eyes, allowing things to be as they are without judgment, which is the same thing this card says. Don't wait until the perfect moment or mood to start something. Instead, enter life with all its flawsomeness. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Let others be who they are too, imperfect and human, complex and simple. It doesn't matter, for there is always something to discover, experience, and love. When you drop the need for an ideal, you uncover the real treasure, which will be far more interesting and valuable. Loving you like crazy. So it's kind of like telling you to stop putting such an emphasis on the plan, you know, and just kind of be more in the present and living the experience and allow the plan to come when the things come. Now, I'm not saying don't plan for certain things, you know. Let's not get too carried away with that. Okay. So let's get some initials so I can go. I can hear my kids. They're already having fun out there. We just cleaned out the jacuzzi, and it is looking good. So they're wanting to swim in it, and I'm going to go out there with them. Okay, so we have mistakes are proof that you're trying. That wasn't very cash money of you. Okay. Focus on the good. Stress less and smile more. So we have a J, an V, a Q, an M or a W, and an R. Okay. All right, guys. We have VR right there. We also have Mr. All right, guys. Okay, I'm going to hold this up so y'all can see it. I'm going to leave it here. So thank you so much for being here. Thanks for all y'all's love and support and kindness, of course. Good luck, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.